So long, man. Have a good rest.
Fuck you! Hey! Help me! Taking maybe one step more. Now let it off to my little friend.
It's now time for The Sit Down with Don Tony.
The Sit Down, where Don Tony talks one-on-one with his followers.
What are you looking at?
About the world of pro wrestling, pop culture, and so much more.
The Sit Down with Don Tony.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
All right, the Godfather, the Podfather, the Dogfather is in the house. What's going on, everybody? It is Sunday night, August 31st, 2025, Labor Day weekend. Early WWE Premium Live event. Early Raw Monday night, 2 p.m. Eastern. Great weekend. Great weekend. Manageable. You know, it's not bad to have a Sunday afternoon, stay at home, watch a little wrestling, have a little conversation Sunday night, call it a little early, enjoy your Labor Day, watch a little wrestling in the afternoon. Not too bad. Not too bad. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone has had a great week. I am here to get into a few topics of conversation and get into your questions. I want to thank you, as always, for joining me. Much love. I do want to let everybody know right up front a couple of programming notes. Originally, I was going to go live Monday after Raw at like 4:30 in the afternoon. Then I forgot it was Labor Day, and I'm going to visit my family, bringing the dogs, going to visit family. So I ain't getting back till late. So then originally I was going to do the show Monday night at 8 p.m. And then I said, you know, not a lot of people are going to all be in that wrestling frame of mind at that time because Raw would have aired so much earlier in the day. So I've decided, yes, there will be a show on Monday, but I'm going to record it, not live. Whatever time I decide to record it, I will. I'll put it up online. And for 1 week, we won't be live in the Discord channel. Also, I did speak to John Draper, and we will be recording an episode of DTVI Patreon within the next week or two. So there's a thread on Patreon right now if you have a particular topic that you want us to get into that we're not already getting into. So we'll be doing that very, very soon. Other than that, normal week of schedule coming up. So how'd you all like Clash in Paris? It ended up being 6 matches, not 5. Wyatt Sicks took on the Split Profits. You know, there's still the Street Profits, but, you know, you ask yourself, with all due respect, Angelo Dawkins, it's been interesting because a lot of people over the last couple of years have called him the Marty Jannetty of the Street Profits, and I think that's a little bit unfair, without a doubt. But I think we all agree that WWE sees a huge future in Montez Ford as a single star. I just don't understand why it's taking him this many years to decide to do it. My only guess is this. This is my only guess. I think WWE in their mind is that when they finally put the Jets behind Montez Ford, he's going to be the heir apparent. Not necessarily Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes, but Montez Ford is going to be he's going to be the heir apparent to Jey Uso, if that makes sense. Like someone that will get to the mountaintop. Don't know how long he'll be at the mountaintop, but I think WWE feels once they put the Jets behind them, they got to go full blown. They couldn't do that up until now because of so much else going on. There's only so many spots, you know, and it's either, I hate to say mid-card or nothing for them, but that's what it's felt like for the last couple of years. But Angelo Dawkins, you know, what do you do with him? Does he come off Does he come off as a future single star? Does he come off as a Tucker? You know, that's the thing. And it's not his fault because he is extremely talented. I'm just trying to think in a WWE creative frame of mind. I don't see the WWE thinking, oh, yeah, we got great plans for Angelo Dawkins as a single star. My God, it has nothing to do with the fact they're both black. But you look at Carmelo Hayes. You know, they brought him to the main roster after splitting him up with Trick Williams, and they can't really find any groove for him. I just don't see it. And today on Clash in Paris, Angelo Dawkins, and this is not the first time, he wrestled as if his job was on the line. That guy really, really put on a performance day. Everybody did. But, you know, I'm just a little concerned about the future of Angelo Dawkins once the Street Profits become the Split Profits, you know. Maybe they change their mind. Maybe they'll end up going the New Day route. Remember how long they teased Kofi and Xavier splitting up? And then it didn't happen. I mean, maybe the Street Profits treat Big B-Fab like Big E. Get the hell out of our ring. And they turn heel and they stay together. I don't know. My pay grade only goes so far to have little premonitions. A lot of people were pointing out to me as soon as it happened on Clash in Paris. Does anybody remember this discussion back 3 months ago? We had a little fun discussion. Should Becky Lynch align with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman as part of the faction? And it got lambasted. Oh, no. We don't want Becky Lynch back aligned with Seth Rollins. Remember the last time the man and the man got together? Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans, that disaster? Well, at the time, they were baby faces, and that's why I think it probably failed more than anything. But we had that conversation 3 months ago, and it looks like it may be happening to some degree. Let the AJ Lee rumors begin. Look, there's never enough money in the world to make. And CM Punk seems like he is having a fucking ball right now. AJ Lee obviously still has love for wrestling in her heart. Why would it be so sacrilegious to her to come out of retirement for a high-profile match? I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not like she retired with career-ending injuries. You know, she's older, obviously, and, you know, her career is pretty much passed her by. But for the amount of money that WWE could pitch and the TV deals that they did with ESPN and Netflix and Peacock, you know, dropping a couple of extra mil to have that match that everybody wants to see them align at least one time, especially for ESPN. Oh, ESPN, WWE, you don't understand. I mean, you probably do. This is not like Peacock or Netflix, so to speak. This is, if this is the right way to put it, this is decades of trying to get sports to finally acknowledge that WWE should be accepted. It's sports and entertainment. The leader of sports and entertainment. WWE has been trying to stroke ESPN for decades. To be added to that sentence. And they're finally getting put on that network. They're finally getting that acknowledgement. You know, it is a huge deal. To me, the ESPN deal is big or even bigger than a Netflix deal in different ways. And the reason why I say that is because think about the amount of programming in the United States that appears on Netflix for the amount of money that they make. Just think about it. Every single week, episodic television. Yeah, overseas, they got the premium live events as well. But when you look at ESPN, think about the fact that they're getting, $350 million a year for just the live events. It's not even the library. It's not even the archives. It's not even weekly programming, Monday Night War, stuff from yesteryear. It's just the live events. That is crazy to think about, because when you look at, and listen, we don't compare AEW's TV deal to WWE's, but you look at how much AEW has to do for Warner Brothers Discovery to get, a 5-year deal, $165 million or whatever it was, you start to see how drastically different this is. Oh, and by the way, a little bit later, we'll have a little fun. Something that probably Dave Meltzer and the elite media did not want to have happen, because in a little subtle way, it exposes just a little bit more who truly is viewing AEW programming on Max. I'll explain why a little bit later. By the way, a little bit later, one of our patrons, Ched, sent us video from Universal Studios Florida of the Wyatt Sicks Haunted House. And I put it on Patreon yesterday. I'm going to share it with all of you today. Pretty damn cool. Interesting what they decided to do with the Wyatt Sicks. As you hear, Bray Wyatt is that sixth member. No shit. I know everybody right now is like, DT, no shit. But they finally acknowledge Bray as the sixth member. Not Alexa Bliss, not others. Even though we do get an Alexa Bliss cameo in the Haunted House. We get quite a few cameos. It would have been cool if they would have had like a dummy version of Chad Gable. And I don't mean dummy as in retarded like Joey Ryan. Did you see the latest Joey Ryan video? He's looking to make out with cancel culture victims. It's no longer Me Too victims or, depressed women that come out of bad relationships. Now he's looking to console those canceled by cancel culture. Can't make that shit up. We'll talk a little bit more about the Raja Jackson, Rampage Jackson, Syko Stu situation. Syko Stu has been released from the hospital. Got a little statement to share with everyone. We have to also address a little bit of controversy that is floating around. And the biggest name to really put this out there was Baby Doll. Remember her? And she said something that made a lot of people go, We're gonna clear it up for Baby Doll, because we like Baby Doll. We're gonna clear up a little confusion she has about the Syko Stu story. Also gonna talk about the number one mistake that Dutch Mantel, Vince Russo, Jonathan Coachman, JBL, Conrad Thompson, Brian Last, Jim Cornette, and everybody, Mark Henry, everybody missed about the Raja Jackson assault on Syko Stu. Every fucking one of them. I think Bin Hameen, shout out to Bin Hameen, I think he's the only one that got it. And what is that? The addiction of clout chasing and the addiction for social media representation is why that incident happened. Didn't happen because it was to get buzz around the school. It didn't happen because Raja Jackson wanted to give a little taste of pro wrestling. No, this was an addiction to clout chasing. That's why that incident happened. And that's why that guy, AJ Mana, oh my God, crash and burn. You don't ever want to see someone lose their job, but when they deserve to lose their job, yeah. You see the true person come out. We got some video of his meltdown. Yes, for people that picked it up, he did say the N-word. We'll share the video in a little bit. We got a lot of stuff to get into. But obviously, I think first we should talk about Clash at the Castle. I don't have more than maybe 3 pictures from Clash at the Castle today, but one of the pictures that I really appreciated was this. Remember that little chubby fan from earlier this year that John Cena mocked? Oh my God, he's getting the royal treatment. He's sitting front row. He's got the take-home chair. He's got a photo that he'll be looking at tonight over a big bowl of ice cream. And I say that not because he's chubby. I'm chubbier than him, just because he's a happy kid. Sitting 2 seats down from John Cena's wife, who made a very rare appearance today on camera. That made me feel good. You know what also made me feel good? If you saw John Cena's match with Logan Paul today, you saw him hit the Styles Clash. You saw him hit End of Days. You saw him hit multiple finishers of wrestlers that he has faced in the past. Now, you know, unfortunately for Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin can't keep his fucking mouth shut without criticizing WWE, you know, Michael Cole acknowledged Logan Paul hitting the Cesaro uppercut earlier. He acknowledged John Cena doing a Styles Clash, the End of Days, you know, multiple finishers. And John Cena, after the event was over today, revealed that he is doing those finishers as a tribute to people who he faced in the past. So when you see him doing quite a few finishers from other wrestlers that you haven't seen him do, I did appreciate that he did pop rocks. I don't know the interaction with him and Roxanne Perez in the past. She even got a little bit of a call out today. But I like that. I like he said in a post show, if he can't wrestle these people again, he could pay a little bit of tribute by at least landing a move. And every move that he landed, he did a great job at. So that was great. Another thing is, I know we have said this in the past, little bits and pieces, but I think whether you like it or not, and I still don't like the guy, it still pisses me off that someone who I dislike so much in professional wrestling could be that freaking good. But I think we all have to finally accept the fact that Logan Paul was meant to be a wrestler. He's meant to be a WWE superstar. The guy just gets it. Yes, it pisses us off, his attitude, his antics outside the ring. We'll never forget the shit that he did in the Far East. You know, this guy has a lot of reasons to dislike him, but there's no question that guy is tremendous. You know, you got to look at him. No, listen, I'm not trying to say like a Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds! Remember Don West? Barry Bonds! Barry Bonds! When he used to sell the cards. Much love to Don West, man. I wouldn't put him on a level of what Barry Bonds was to baseball, but that's pretty much what he is. He's like a John Rocker, even though John Rocker was never spectacular, but he's that baseball player that you fucking can't stand, that you just want to see melt and lose and get their ass kicked, but somehow puts it all together. That's what he is. That's what he is. And was it the best match of the night? There was only one match that was, you know, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because you guys know me now. I've been doing this since 1997. I've been doing this since 1997. You know, guys, I rag on everybody. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, straight, gay, he, her, they, it, all of the above. I don't care who you are, we rag on it. And we tell it like it is. And I will never waver from that. But, you know, when I watched this match go down, I wanted to see the IWC reaction to it. And I found a very stark difference in opinion. if you were one of these females, mostly female, if you were one of these females or guys that have manginas that just says, oh, there should be 50-50 booking and Rhea Ripley should have main evented WrestleMania even though it wasn't in the cards for this year, and always gotta overhype women's wrestling, this tweet was like the poster child of them all. Nothing against those wrestling girls, but they said this was one of Nikki Bella's best matches. I don't think they've ever seen Nikki Bella's matches from yesteryear. Were any of them 4-star? No. But Nikki Bella has had matches where she didn't fuck up multiple times. Well done, Nikki Bella. I'll say this before I get into probably a controversial comment. I'll say this about Nikki Bella. One nice thing that I can say about Nikki Bella today is she is not aged at all. I watched a match of her versus AJ Lee over the weekend. And I'm like, wow, if you actually look at the video side by side, she has not aged. Yeah, if you look up close, you know, if you get that close, kind of like some Paris fans to Rhea Ripley. I don't know if you heard that story. We got the video. We'll share it with you in a little bit. But she has not aged. She looks fabulous. The wrestling, though, today, there's a reason why, you know, you can have nostalgia, but treat it as nostalgia. And what happened today? Nikki Bella gets the championship match. I could accept her having one match for a title. I don't have any issue with it. But you go to Paris and you saw, you know, I mean, listen, even outside the ring, when she grabs Becky Lynch's head and she's going back and forth at the commentators' tables, I mean, yes, Becky is responsible for selling it too. But you look at Nikki with her hand, and it's kind of like, you know, she's like, you know, at least try to make it seem like you're wailing her head into the fucking table. Show a little bit of angry emotion. She missed the springboard off the rope. She missed multiple moves, but I'm going to just say it. Going to get me in trouble, but if you saw the IWC reaction to this match today, imagine if Nikki Bella was black. Imagine that fucking reaction if she was black. They would have called everybody in Paris racists. They would have said, my point is, remember when everybody was going really, really hard on some of the other countries? You know, why are they treating Jade Cargill like this? Why are they crapping on, why are they always crapping on black women? Saudi Arabia. You and I had to correct that because when Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill wrestled together in Saudi Arabia, they were cheered. This idea that people put out there, this rage baiting that, international people don't like black women, especially wrestling, is one of the most asinine things I ever heard. And, you know, we've already dispelled that stupidity. But I thought about it today. I was like, could you imagine how the IWC would have melted if Nikki Bella was black and had that match today? It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. This match showed you why nostalgia should be treated as nostalgia. I don't care how much plastic surgery you have, and I'm not saying that Nikki Bella's had any plastic surgery lately. I'm saying no matter how good you look, you know, unfortunately, beauty does not suddenly create, you know, talent. And just because you're beautiful doesn't mean that your moves are going to be beautiful. I've seen some ugly-ass motherfuckers wrestle 5-star matches, and I've seen some of the most beautiful people in the world wrestle like shit. This match had no business being on this premium live event, especially when you realize that Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky could have had a match. They could have had just a tag team, a 6-woman match, something. My only take out of it is this was part of the deal that WWE made with Nikki Bella. All right, you want to come back to wrestling? Okay. We're going to give you that championship match. We'll do it in Paris. Oh, I get to go to Paris. She wrestled on the same card as John Cena, and she was in gorilla position. I want to see WWE Unreal when Nikki Bella is in gorilla position and she sees John Cena kissing his wife at ringside. I want to see that moment. I'm not trying to be hard on Nikki Bella. I've never been a fan of Nikki Bella's. I appreciate her dedication and her trying. She tries. You got to give somebody credit for trying. She obviously tried and worked hard to get back to this match, but still, there's a reason why nostalgia is nostalgia, and treat it that way. Can I also show you guys something? And then we'll get into a little bit more about these matches. The Wyatt Sicks, they successfully retained their tag titles today. Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis over the Street Profits. And I saw this picture after the match was over. And anybody that knows where I'm going with this, if you look at this picture closely, you're going to see what I'm seeing. This past week was the unfortunate anniversary of Daphne passing away. And I don't know if you guys kind of see this, but Nikki Cross, slowly, if you look as she's aging, she is looking more and more and more like Daphne of about 10, 15 years ago. And I had a few friends DM me today, and we were talking about the show. They're like, is it just me that Nikki Cross is looking more and more like Daphne, especially when she smiles? And yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's not intentional. I don't think any of it is intentional. But, especially the fact that we just passed the anniversary of Daphne's passing. She's looking more and more like her, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm telling you, look at the video today. It'll creep you out. If you follow Daphne 10, 15 years ago, you'll see what I'm talking about. Put them side by side, it'll creep you out. So we miss you, Daphne. We miss you. All right, a couple other things. Roman Reigns, once again, being written off television. We got to get used to it, obviously. What would it used to be? Arrive, wreck, leave. Now it's arrive, win, get wrecked, and leave. They're getting pretty lazy with the way they write them off TV. I mean, they keep having them get attacked, and they did it again today. We had an entire hour, 57 minutes to open Clash in Paris today, dedicated to Roman Reigns. 57 minutes. Between the entrances and Paris, my God, serenading everybody tonight. Paris was great, man. Paris was fun. I did not get tired of it. I thought it was great. I did find something very, very interesting. Does anybody notice that no matter where John Cena is, he could be in Texas or he could be in Zimbabwe. He could be in North Carolina or he could be in North Korea. Whenever John Cena's music is on and the fans serenade him, they only serenade the chorus. If you notice, they never do the rap. With Cult of Personality, they'll sing everything. They'll sing the song for everything. But when it comes to John Cena, you'll hear all the rapping, you'll hear trademark, you'll hear everything else. And then when it gets, your time is up, my time is now, you can't see me. Like, they'll only do the chorus, and then they stop. I've noticed that for quite a long time. But Roman Reigns now written off television again to do Street Fighter as Cody Rhodes. We'll talk a little bit more about Cody Rhodes tomorrow on a regular show. I know him and his wife just had their second child. Congrats to them. But, you know, other than the Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella match, there was not a bad match on the card. For everybody in the chat, what was your favorite match tonight? For a lot of people, I think it's going to be a toss-up between Logan Paul and John Cena and Rusev and Sheamus. Rusev and Sheamus beat the fuck out of each other. Predictions-wise, we got everything right. I mean, this was a very predictable event. I mean, you really had to try to go against the grain if you thought that there was going to be any different outcome. But what was your favorite match of the night? I tell you, for this, because the fact that he is leaving soon, I would lean slightly to John Cena, Logan Paul, with Rusev and Sheamus a close second. The four-way match, I don't know, it was a miss for me. It was a miss. You know, because obviously the outcome of the match is going to be overshadowed by everything. We think that CM Punk is about to win his championship again, or somebody comes out, you know, in the match and just kicks him while he's got Seth Rollins set up for the second go to sleep. But we get a masked, well, someone dressed in all black with a hoodie on. And all we know is that the person is kind of small. And I thought for a minute, okay, maybe Austin Theory joins the Vision. And the reason why I thought that would be good, because number one, somebody in the Vision needs to be able to take an ass kicking once in a while. Even after a match is over, somebody's got to be left out to dry and get their ass kicked. And it can't always be Bronson Reed eating somebody's finisher, a Jey Uso spear from the outside of the ring, a Roman Reigns spear. You know, you have to have somebody who can get their ass kicked. And it should not always be Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed. And I think Austin Theory could fit that role a little bit. So I thought for a minute, okay, maybe this is Austin Theory. It obviously wasn't Brock Lesnar. I don't know why people thought Brock Lesnar could possibly come out at the end. But it was revealed to be Becky Lynch because Paul Heyman was sent to the hospital. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker were barred from the arena. And Adam Pearce, finally, with one of these ultimatums. If you show up at ringside, you're going to be suspended without pay. That's the easiest way to, like, get somebody off television. And how many times, you get out of the building, you're ejected, get out of the building, take the rest of the night off. And you never hear those extra words. If you come back, you're suspended without pay. And that's done by design. So they weren't there. So Seth Rollins was all by himself. I thought it was kind of stupid early in the match when it was a 3-on-1 beating on Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins is yelling out for Paul's name when he knew that Paul Heyman was in the hospital. But Becky Lynch comes out. And obviously Becky Lynch screws over CM Punk and low blows him. This allows Seth Rollins to hit the curb stomp and gets the win. So now all the buzz is AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Does Becky Lynch become the next member of the Vision? A lot of people feel there should be 4, and I agree. You might have to do this with Becky because if you remember, I think it was last Monday, we were talking about Becky's current title reign, and we said, who's next? Like, what's next? It can't be Lara Vicaria. She cannot fight for that championship again. If Becky has a different title, yeah, they can feud again. But you look at Stephanie Vicaire, it doesn't feel like Stephanie Vicaire and Becky Lynch is a feud that WWE's looking to do anytime soon. We've beaten Natalia's horse to death. I mean, that horse has been beaten to death. You look at the women's roster, Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, I don't know about that. Becky Lynch and Raquel Rodriguez, no. They're heels. So when you look at the women's roster, we had this conversation last Monday, like, What do you do with Becky? So now you could have her standing next to her husband, parading the title, and not even have to have a match every other week. And she makes appearances, and she's on TV, and that's how you kind of shift away. Plus, when you think about it, Wrestlepalooza is the next premium live event, and neither one will have to defend their title. So now Seth Rollins is guaranteed to have that championship at least for the next month and a half to 2 months, because he won't have to defend it at Wrestlepalooza. If they do this tag match, now their titles are safe for the foreseeable future. So we'll see what happens. Just keep in mind, if AJ Lee does return, it's likely to be for just one match. Even if she shines, and more than likely she'll get the victory, but you know what that opens up. You know what that opens up. If she has a good showing and she gets the victory with CM Punk, everybody's going to demand that AJ Lee get a title shot against Becky Lynch. And they're going to demand AJ Lee to return again, at least the second time. So this is why sometimes you don't open that book, because in many ways it's not easy to just open and close it unless you're talking WrestleMania. Unless you're talking WrestleMania and somebody's making a return for nostalgia, clear-cut nostalgia, AJ Lee returning is not intended for nostalgia. AJ Lee returning is to neutralize Seth Rollins' wife, who is now fucking with CM Punk also. CM Punk is not going to start beating up Becky Lynch or a female. So how do you gain revenge? Somebody has to come to the defense of Seth Rollins. So if AJ Lee does make that return, that is a slippery slope that you have to think about, especially if she gets a victory, with CM Punk. So let me reload this. For some reason, I'm having a little tech issue over here. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Okay, we are good. Okay, we are good. All right. We'll fill in the blanks with everything momentarily. Couple other things I wanted to talk about. For anybody that didn't hear about what happened with Rhea Ripley, it's not easy to be a celebrity and walk the streets. I know that doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Welcome to the world of entertainment. Whether you're an actor, an actress, a baseball player, a basketball player, a singer, a songwriter, a producer, a politician. Usually if you're going to walk the streets or walk somewhere, you should have security with you. Rhea Ripley, I'm assuming she was going from the hotel to the car, or I don't think it was the building to the car. It might have been a hotel, because there was a shitload of WWE fans there. And as she's walking to the car, she got mobbed by a whole bunch of fans. Now, I didn't see anybody touching her, but what they were doing was they were getting right in her face and going like this, trying to get selfies. And I got the video. If anybody wants to check this out, give this a look. There's Rhea Ripley. She's trying to get to her car. I think she was probably recording. There they go. There they go. No autographs, though. Nobody was asking for autographs. They just wanted selfies with her. But for some reason, she doesn't get in the car right away. She doesn't get in the car right away. And they're all approaching her, trying to take selfies. And she went on social media and she wrote, "Remember, we are people. Do not swarm me or anyone like a pack of rabid zombies. No one should ever be pushed up against an Uber's driver's door and completely mobbed like I just experienced. Use common courtesy and humanity. No means no. What the fuck?" Now, I don't know. I mean, did she get pushed up into the Uber's door? Listen, I'm not defending these fans. This was a little bit disrespectful, without a doubt. They definitely got a little bit close. I want to see when she got pushed up against the car. I mean, look, you can literally open the door right there, and she doesn't. You know, I again, definitely disrespectful, but, you know, you're just standing there. And those few extra seconds, I'm not defending the other people, but if you're just standing there and everybody's got their phones, everybody else nearby is like, oh, she's taking selfies. Let me go over there too. She needed security. Now, later on, we saw a video of Roxanne Perez walking around and she had security. Nobody went up to her. Sheamus was in some type of a mall in Paris and he was getting mobbed. You look at the video with Sheamus. I didn't get a chance to cap it, but he gets mobbed. And, you know, it didn't look like he was really upset or anything, but, you know, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, especially you're in a foreign country. You know, I don't care how great the hospitality was. I don't care how safe the environment may be. You know, you're a larger-than-life superhero to many people. And they have only seen you from afar. And they finally get an opportunity to see you up close and personal. And some people forget their manners. And again, not justifying what we just saw, but they should be with security at all times. There's no, especially when you see what we just saw. So, all right. I wanted to share that video for everybody out there. Just to finish up, Clash at the Castle. By the way, Jelly Roll and Post Malone were there. They're performing in the same building on Wednesday. So they didn't travel all the way to Paris because they wanted to watch Clash at Paris. They were there because they're going to be in concert. And they decided to go there a few days early and hang out. We also found out that they set a record in that building. And this is pretty impressive. Philippe Charot, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a French announcer that apparently is very popular there. Everybody knew who he was. He announced that they had 30,343 fans in attendance. And it ended up, WWE Clashing Paris became the highest gate in the history of that building, Paris La Défense Arena. And it surpassed Taylor Swift, who was in concert there last summer. Taylor Swift. And we've had those conversations about Taylor Swift prices. So, listen, if we can act like kindergarten children for a second, including me, it ain't hard to figure this out. Okay, the building suddenly didn't get a big extension, so it holds 5,000 extra seats. How could WWE surpass Taylor Swift's gate from last year? That means more money came in than last year. And Taylor Swift sold that building out. What does that tell you? WWE fucking jacked those prices even higher. You know, you sell 10,000 tickets and your ticket prices are a shitload more than someone else. Yeah, you'll set records. What's a more important record? Having the most attendance, the highest attendance, or the highest gate? Because the thing is, you could comp thousands of tickets. You could put tickets on sale for $20 and fill up a building. And, oh my God, we set a record. We had the most people than anybody else. But then you realize, okay, we could have had 5,000 people less and charged an extra $30, $40 a ticket and became the highest gate in history. Listen, make no mistake about it, WWE is charging an insane amount of money. Let's put it this way. I brought this up on the news update Wednesday. Saturday night's main event, not John Cena's retirement, the one coming up in Utah. Saturday night's main event WWE is selling front row tickets for $3,000 for a fucking Saturday night's main event. It's a glorified house show. It's even a watered down house show. And it's not even John Cena. $3,000. I'd rather buy a fucking used car, or pay off my bills than spend $3,000 because I want to sit front row for a Saturday night's main event. That is sick. But as long as people keep paying it, they're going to keep charging it. That's what people need to realize. This is why investors are very positive about WWE right now. That's why that stock is getting close to $200 a share. Investors are not complaining about the ticket prices because they see that people are paying for it. When those buildings become much harder to fill, and remember, my friends, you can have 2,000-3,000 empty seats in a building. But if they're all the way up there, it don't fucking matter. When you have 2,000-3,000 seats less and you got to bring people down to fill the floor seats, that's when you start having issues. So, yeah, you didn't sell the boondocks. Oh, fucking well, we'll tarp it off. But if you're selling crazy amount of money for floor seats, investors love it. And WWE will keep doing it. So believe me, that's why even when I see people making fun of AEW, talking about their tickets, and they're not filling a building, I always look to see what sections were filled. And yes, they do bring people down at times, but sometimes it's very hard because they can't tell right spur in a moment who bought last minute this section or this section. You start bringing people down from section 200 to section 30, and then somebody shows up late. What the fuck you doing in my seat? They told me I could come down. No, I got a fucking ticket. Then you start causing a little bit of problems here. So for me, I'd rather set a record for the revenue than the number of tickets because, to me, revenue is the most important. I do want to, before we get into the individual match results, one day I'll bring it up now since we're talking about revenue, AEW and WWE. For all of you out there that always get a kick out of the people in wrestling, only in wrestling does this happen. You don't see anybody in the business world trying to guess the max numbers for AEW. You don't see nobody in the business world try or acting like they have the max numbers for the NBA, the max numbers for hockey, the max numbers for a TV show, the max number. You never see anybody in the entertainment world posting that they have from their sources that this game scored this, and this TV show did this. No, they don't know, so they don't report it. You get BJ bullshit, BJ Bethel, and he makes a claim, 500,000 viewers. And because AEW is not a publicly traded company, everybody's like, oh yeah, I heard from somebody that's true. Yeah, you heard from somebody who read BJ Bethel. That's all it is. But here's the funny thing. Indiana. Mark it off the list. WWE, you may not know this, WWE is now purchasing commercial spots on HBO Max during Dynamite for upcoming shows in different areas. So WWE's coming to Indiana, in the Indiana state and the surrounding states. WWE bought advertising for their upcoming shows airing on HBO Max during Dynamite. That is not a big deal because AEW has purchased commercial time during WWE programming for upcoming shows locally, wherever it is. Why is this a big deal? Did you notice that nobody watching Dynamite on Max from Indiana went on social media and said, guys, I was just watching Dynamite on Max And look at this. There's a WWE commercial during Dynamite. Not one. And WWE did not just advertise in Indiana. I don't know if Kentucky, I don't know what the two surrounding states are, but take note that no one that watched Dynamite on Max went on social media, went on X with a little video and said, guys, look what just popped up during Dynamite. WWE, look, the ball's on them. Even though there's nothing wrong. Take note of that, because next week, Dynamite on Max, wherever WWE is going to be going soon, you best damn believe those particular states are going to be getting WWE commercials during Dynamite on Max. And let's see if anybody posts on social media the commercial. Now, one schmuck is going to do it, but if you only see 2 people, 3 people, and we start adding enough states together, all right, when we get to 10 states and nobody posted the video, or 5 people posted the video, that WWE commercial during Dynamite on Max, then you start saying, well, I guess, that demographic doesn't use X. That demographic doesn't know how to save video. Yeah, there'll be an excuse. My point is, as this keeps continuing, take note how almost nobody on Max who is an AEW fan that sees this commercial suddenly doesn't have the technical know-how to just save a little bit of, take a picture. Look at, oh my God, look, honey, WWE right now, they have a commercial on Max. Oh my God. Let me get my picture for, look, I just took a picture. Look how messy my room is. Literally, you see the lazy people during the premium live events. They don't even use a capture card. They literally just go to their TV and say, hey, look, everybody, John Cena hugged the fat kid. They're going to lose their phones. No one is going to post it. So when we get to enough states and we see almost nobody posting, the WWE's putting those commercials, then you start saying, gee, I wonder how many people truthfully are watching Max for AEW. So, and listen, there's some people trolling already over it. Am I wrong? All right, let's just wrap up quickly. Clash at the Castle, just the match results. Roman Reigns defeats Bronson Reed. Couple of things right off the bat. I loved how Roman Reigns was wearing 2 Ula Falas tonight, 1 red, 1 black, paying tribute to both Afa and Sika, who passed away not too long ago. I thought that was beautiful. I am happy that Braun Breaker did not get involved in that match until it was over. I loved that it was 1-on-1, and I thought this is probably top 3 greatest matches that Bronson Reed has had in his WWE career. This drug out. I mean, make no mistake about it. This match started slow. I mean, the crowd was serenading, and they just kept going. And, God bless them to have that kind of energy. Roman Reigns, I mean, they were doing so many different tributes to Roman, and they were digging it. They were into it. And even though this match was very, very slow at the beginning, crowd was not complaining. They were loving it. And this match went good 20 minutes. And yeah, maybe it should have ended a little bit sooner. But Bronson Reed put on a performance. And it's strange. I don't know if anybody else out there feels this way like I do. Bronson Reed facing Roman Reigns. Like John Cena feels that Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time. I rewatched for this upcoming history episode Paul Heyman in New York City last year with Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman saying that Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time. John Cena brings up since 2019, the WWE profits have doubled, and Roman Reigns was at the top during that entire time, pretty much, for the most part. Especially when you realize COVID was a couple of those years and WWE still doubled their profits. Everybody says Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time. What's fascinating about it is I've been watching wrestling since 1979. And when I look at the overall scope of being a wrestling fan, I don't look at Roman Reigns and say to myself, of the, 48 years, 47 years of me watching, 46 years of me watching wrestling, he is the greatest of all time. I look at based on character, wrestler, 5 tools, storylines, emotion, just memorable matches. And I'm not knocking Roman Reigns right now. I'm not knocking him at all. But I wonder how many of you out there, that's been a wrestling fan for a couple of decades, look at this and say, man, if Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time based on WWE success and the business mantra, boy, is wrestling it should have been bigger back then. That's what I think it is. It should have been much bigger back then. You ask yourself, if the economy is as bad as it is, and people are struggling as much as they are, how the fuck is WWE making this kind of coin? How are these people, these companies, making billions and trillions of dollars? And it's not monopoly. It's not monopolizing. It's just a very fascinating thing to look back on. But Bronson Reed tonight, along with Logan Paul, both of those guys wrestled like they knew they were in the ring with royalty. And they were working their fucking asses off. Just trying to, just so detailed, dot all the I's, cross all the T's. No room for error whatsoever. Bronson Reed, at times, moving around like a cruiserweight. You could feel that Bronson Reed was just, look at what I'm in the ring with. And the most amazing thing about it is, it's not nostalgia. That's the thing. I'm not trying to compare it to Sting, but people understand why I say this. You look at Sting in AEW. The people that Sting wrestled, for the most part, were more in awe that they got the privilege of sharing the ring with one of the greatest of all time at 62 plus years old. But it felt like a nostalgia thing. So everybody in the ring, I'm just happy to be in the ring with him. This did not feel like nostalgia. John Cena wrestled tonight. It's a very, very tricky topic to talk to Cena about. And if you saw the post show, you know what I mean. When somebody had asked John Cena, oh, you're invigorated. Is that? But really, I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was, you can read between the lines, and they wanted to say to John Cena, you're having better matches now than you ever did in your career. Now, we understand John Cena did not have to do that. John Cena in the past did not have to go this balls out for his role. But John Cena arguably is having his best matches now, or working the hardest he's worked in a decade. So Bronson Reed, all props to him, man. Roman Reigns does get the victory. Towards the latter part of the match, Bronson Reed is laid out. And basically, Roman Reigns gets the win. And Paul Heyman is looking over Bronson Reed, who's in the corner laid out. Roman Reigns gets the win. Nobody else is ringside. No Braun Breaker, no Jey Uso, no anything. And I didn't think that Jey Uso would show up because of the main event, but we'll explain that in a little bit. Michael Cole, who got a few things wrong tonight, and I think one was intentional. Michael Cole said early on that Jey Uso was going to accompany Roman Reigns down to ringside. Or no, actually it was the opposite. Roman Reigns was going to accompany Jey Uso to ringside for the main event, which really didn't make sense because it's like, oh, Roman Reigns is going to be ringside during this championship match? Are we going to have a swerve or something go down? It just didn't make sense. Well, that didn't happen, obviously, because Roman Reigns got sent to the hospital. But that was done for storyline. So what happens is after the match is over, Paul Heyman is standing over Bronson Reed, who has fallen and pretty much half unconscious. And Paul Heyman's got the Shula Fala over his shoulders. So Roman Reigns goes up to him. Paul Heyman could sense, probably could smell Roman Reigns. I don't know how much he smells when he sweats, but he turns around and Roman Reigns is standing there looking at him, and Paul Heyman gives him the Shula Fala. And Paul Heyman, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. I love you. I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. Roman Reigns, I thought he was going to hit him with a Superman punch. But Roman is like, no, I'm just going to hug you instead. And he puts the guillotine on. And he's, Paul Heyman is selling him. Paul Heyman, that's it. He's done. Guillotine, go to the hospital. By the way, I guess this would be a good time for me to show this. We got the footage of the Wyatt Sicks thing in Florida. Let me see if I can pull this up. We have all the characters from the Wyatt Sicks in Florida. But one character that didn't make Florida. You have Ramblin' Rabbit. You had Huskus the Pig. You had, Abby the Witch. Everybody. How many people have forgotten Wobbly Walrus? Who remembers Wobbly Walrus? That was dedicated to Paul Heyman, the Walrus. Unfortunately, I did not see any signs of Wobbly Walrus in Universal. But Paul Heyman is out. So now Braun Breaker shows up. Braun Breaker is on the French announcer's table and does a spear from one table to the other, puts Roman through the table. And now it's time to write Roman Reigns off of TV for Street Fighter movie. So Braun is hitting him with spears. Bronson Reed hits 3 tsunamis. At one point, Roman Reigns is strapped to the gurney, and he gets attacked by both guys. They bring the gurney back into the ring, and Jey Uso tries to help, but he gets his ass kicked too. And that would be important because Jey Uso would not be 100% for the main event. So Braun and Braun were a little bit responsible for Jey Uso not having a great performance in the main event. And that main event kind of fell flat for me. One thing that I did not like, and I'm sure you guys are tired of it as well, I counted 8 officials in the ring when Roman Reigns was laid out, strapped to the gurney, in the ring, selling 2 tsunamis and a whole other beatdown. And you got Adam Pearce in the ring, and you got 8 officials in the ring, and they're all right around Roman Reigns. And Bronson Reed climbs the rope, the buckles, and what happens? He does a tsunami. Everybody moves out of the way. Even before he launches. Now, Bronson Reed has got to do this rapido. You can't stand and acknowledge the crowd and try to soak it in. You got to literally just climb up and fall. It's kind of like when little kids go on a community sliding pond or community diving board. All the kids are climbing up the ladder at the same time, and you don't stand in the ladder and acknowledge me, beach people. You climb the diving board and you jump right off. You climb it up, you jump right off. You climb it up, you jump right off. That's what Bronson Reed has to do. But even when he's about to climb the ropes, all the officials no, and then he goes to dive, and everybody just clears. That's the only thing I don't like. It gets a little corny. You got that many people in there. They don't try to hold them back. They don't try to pull them apart. They don't try to be like protesters in the street. You know how all those protesters in the street, they'll just like lay around the street so the cars can't go by? These officials just like grab the turnbuckle and go like this. You know, you ain't climbing this. They keep grabbing my sausage. Keep grabbing my cock. I had to play the sound effect because people on audio only is probably like, what is this guy talking about? So Roman Reigns is sent to a hospital. Paul Heyman is sent to a hospital. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are ejected for the rest of the show. And if they show up at the main event, they are suspended without pay. So, next match we had the Wyatt Sicks defend their tag team championships against what soon will be the Split Profits. Angelo Dawkins insisting that he starts the match. Montez Ford is not thrilled at it. You know, they started arguing during the match, and that overshadowed everything. This was a great match as well. When we did predictions on Monday, one thing that we pointed out at the last event in Paris, which I think was Backlash. Was Backlash the one in Paris? Whatever event it was in Paris, what we pointed out was that it was 5 matches, but every match went long. So you were going to have plenty of time. And the fact that they added a 6 match for the Wyatt Sicks, you know, everybody had enough time tonight. And this match went long enough where the crowd was into it. I mean, outside of Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella, I mean, every match delivered today. But because you had all the members of the Wyatt Sicks at ringside, they would ultimately get involved in the match. I did make a note that towards the latter part of the match, Eric Rowan tried to make a distraction with Montez Ford, and Montez Ford wipes out Eric Rowan and Dexter Lumis. So what ends up happening is Montez Ford is outside the ring. Angelo Dawkins is selling on the opposite side of the ring, outside the ring. And here is Nikki Cross grabbing Montez Ford's leg from underneath the ring. And with the referee not looking, Uncle Howdy hits Sister Abigail on Montez Ford outside the ring, knocks his ass out. Joe Gacy brings Montez Ford back in the ring and hits the sit-down powerbomb, which they're now calling it the Plague, and gets the victory. We did not see any frustration after the match. We didn't see any pushing, any fighting between the Street Profits. They immediately went, I think it was a CM Punk video package. But nice to see the Wyatt Sicks, you know, getting not just good matches, but getting, you know, quality time. Because still, 2024 was a dismal year for the Wyatt Sicks. They debuted, and everything just went off the rails. Remember all the VHS tapes at ringside, and you know they were mistreated, and they lied to you, and you're going to get revenge on, you know, it seemed like corporate. And then it turned into, let's beat up bullies. Let's take care of The Miz. Let's take care of Chad Gable. Let's take care of the Final Testament. You know, they turned into bullies. And then they disappeared. They fucking appeared. And you heard Bo Dallas got injured. And then he was recovered from injury and still nothing. Now they come back and suddenly they want to just be a win tag team gold. But now they're being accepted a little bit more. So you guys want to see that Florida video now? You guys want to see the Haunted House video now, or do you want me to just finish the match results first? It's totally up to you for everybody who's live. Just if you want to see the video now, one of our patrons went to a Universal Studio. Okay, I'll share it with you now. It's about 5 minutes. Even if you don't want to see it, go get a drink or something. But Universal Studios, he went and he recorded it. He sent me the video. I hope to God it's his video. I mean, I checked online. I didn't see anything the same. But he sent it to me. He's like, you could share it with everybody if you want. So I did add his name to the top. But for anybody that is interested, this is the Wyatt Sicks Haunted House that is going on at Universal. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I will tell you right off the bat, one thing I really liked was they recreated the backstage area when the Wyatt Sicks made their debut. Chad Gable look-alike, you'll see it when it goes. But I couldn't, at points, couldn't tell if these were actors dressed up or if they were like, the automated robot things, because it was so perfect and so crisp. And my God, if that was a real person playing Alexa Bliss, even though you only see her for a few seconds, they nailed it. So here's the video.
Huskers, Rambling, Mercy, Brave, we are the Wyatt Sicks. We're here.
That I can tell is an actress. You'll see where you'll know what I'm talking about. Here comes the Alexa Bliss part.
Always like the way. All you have to do is let me in.
Let him in.
It gets a little gory over here. When you get to the pig, it gets pretty gory.
Enjoy the tea party!
Huskers, let the pigs feed. Mercy, what will they do?
My favorite part was the original Wyatt family. That little clip at that end. That was pretty cool. By the way, if you didn't know, those were some of Bray Wyatt's paintings. And some of those creatures were his paintings brought to life. Just a little tidbit that, some people may not know that. So not bad, right? Not too bad at all. So let's get back to the match results. And we got a couple of news tidbits. Get into your questions and get out of here. We got about 45 minutes left. Listen, I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but we ain't spending any time on this. Becky Lynch defeats Nikki Bella to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Nikki Bella got a decent pop when she came out, but during the match, it became crystal clear that Paris wanted Becky Lynch to win. Nikki Bella was getting booed out of the building. Some people took note that Nikki Bella looked a little bit rattled by it. I think Nikki Bella has much thicker skin than that. But, the interesting thing about this match was the finish. And what happened was Nikki Bella, towards the end of the match, hit Becky Lynch with the manhandle slam. And she attempts to disarm her. But Becky Lynch turns it over and does she rolls. And she ends up doing a backslide to Nikki Bella and gets the pin. And we heard Wade Barrett tonight say he called it the Lynch pin. Now, it's an interesting play on words, if you think of it, Lynch pin. But some people think that that's Becky Lynch's new finisher. Just a backslide. I'm not so sure. I could be wrong. How I interpreted that finisher was, okay, this is my finisher for when we have somebody that we don't want tapped out. Like Nikki is a legend. Yes, she's tapped out in the past, but no, we don't want her to tap out. We'll give her, it was an abrupt victory that it could have gone either way, but Becky just got one move too much. That's how I interpreted it. I don't think it was more about a submission move, but we will see. We will see if she continues using that move. But it looked great. I want to make that clear. It definitely looked great. But this match, not very good. I mean, I don't want to say that Nikki Bella stunk up the joint, but there was you could see that this was not just ring rust. This is someone you're reminded, and you know what? I'm going to say this to defend Nikki Bella a little bit here. You know what the problem in this match was? This is the problem in this match. Becky Lynch is a Hall of Famer. Becky Lynch is a veteran now. So Becky Lynch knows how to adapt and bring her offense down to help someone look better. And that's why Maxine Dupree's match looked decent, and a few other people that have taken on Becky Lynch, even when she was doing some NXT stuff, look good. Because Becky will bring it down, pull back a little bit to try to even it out. The problem is when you do pull back, you have to hope that the person you're facing does things correctly. And that's the problem. When Nikki Bella was around 10 years ago, you didn't have the level of women's wrestling on a consistent basis like you do now. There was always women in wrestling that could kick ass, from Medusa to Molly Holly to Gail Kim, Awesome Khan. You go down the list. I mean, there's been awesome women's wrestling for 20 plus years. Medusa, if I didn't mention her. Sherry, but my point is, when Nikki Bella wrestled at that time, women's wrestling was not pushed to that level. So the quality of opponents, the quality of the matches were always, less. So now you're putting Nikki Bella in an environment where she's not used to that. And even though Becky pulled back, Nikki couldn't deliver it. And that's why it should have been treated as nostalgia, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, novelty match, not replacing Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez or anybody on the SmackDown women's roster, Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. I don't know if she's ready to retire. You know what I mean? Like, this feels like it was promised to Nikki, you're going to wrestle in Paris. And I think we were supposed to have 2 women's matches. And I think when Naomi's match got scrapped, they went with the Wyatt Sicks versus the Street Profits instead. So that match was what it was. For a lot of people, the best match of the night or the second best match of the night. Rusev beats Sheamus. We had shillelaghs. We had canes, chairs, wooden stools. We had a freaking bar. We had wooden barrels. I mean, this was just physical. I mean, Rusev took so many beats to the chest that you start saying to yourself, that's got, not just that that's got to hurt, but, that's kind of like scary. Like, you're getting hit that many times in the chest. This was just fucking physical. There was one point where Rusev had the accolade on Sheamus, and Sheamus broke out of it, dropped Rusev on the chair, and it looked like it hurt. Then you had Rusev having the accolade standing on a bunch of whiskey barrels. And we had a pair of Slim Jim tables set up at ringside, and Sheamus somehow not only gets out of the accolade, and I don't know if this is a good thing. I don't know if this is a good thing. I don't know if anybody should be able to just get out of the accolade by standing up. You know what I mean? Like, that should be a finisher, that even though this was a Donnybrook, no holds barred, there's some moves that you should not be able to get out of. But it happened more than once today on both sides. But Sheamus was eating the accolade on top of whiskey barrels. And he picks up Rusev and turns it into white noise off the barrels through 2 tables. And then Rusev kicks out of the bro kick for a 2. Rusev is doing the accolade in the ring. Sheamus breaks out of it again, but then Sheamus finally submits because Rusev finds the shillelagh and uses that for the accolade. I mean, at one point, it looked like they were going to do it with the neck, but, you got to be a little careful with that, so they kind of put it by his mouth, and Sheamus taps out. Now, Michael Cole screwed up today, and go figure. We corrected Michael Cole. Like 15 people gave a shit. This is why sometimes I don't like to post on social media. Sometimes if you post emotional stuff, like you call AJ Mana a clown, you get 1,000 likes. But if you correct Michael Cole and Michael Cole says this is only the second time that Sheamus ever tapped out, no, this was the third. I know it's not that big of a deal, but you do want to correct history. And I knew this right off the bat because I've been doing a history show, and there are little tidbits about wrestlers that you remember. Sheamus tapped out today, and Michael Cole said it was the second time ever that he's tapped out, and it was actually the third. And I looked up the dates. During the COVID era in Thunderdome, Sheamus tapped out to Bobby Lashley on the March 22nd, 2021 Raw, and he also tapped out to Gunther last year in the King of the Ring tournament on May 6th of 2024. So this was the third time. If we're going to nitpick, Michael Cole also made a mistake and said we only have 3 months left of John Cena. It's actually 4. Because there's 4 months left. There's 120 days left in a year. That's 4 months instead of 3. Unless John Cena is going to be taking a month off. No, that's not the case. But the Sheamus Rusev match, it was, you know, it's amazing how good they work. But it's also telling too, because Sheamus kicked out of so much shit, getting his ass kicked, but he'll have a regular wrestling match and sometimes can't survive 5 minutes. What does that say? That when it comes to really, really physical, somehow you become almost invincible. But this match was tremendous. Really, really loved this match. All right. As we talked about earlier, John Cena defeats Logan Paul. John Cena serenaded. I mean, there were things that Paris was doing tonight that I don't remember them doing in Backlash. I think it was Backlash France. This match was amazing. And the reason why I say amazing is because if you thought John Cena couldn't do better from his match with Cody Rhodes. Now remember, Cody Rhodes' match with John Cena was a street fight. This was not a street fight. And this is why I kind of enjoyed this match with Logan Paul even more than the Cody Rhodes one, because everything was done in the ring. And you could feel like Logan Paul realized, I'm in with arguably the GOAT. I mean, for this generation, many people will consistently say that John Cena is the GOAT over Roman Reigns, even though the business aspect of it doesn't back that up a little bit. But John Cena really amped it up. And I said this on last week's predictions, but a lot of you also said it as well. In the final months of John Cena's career in the ring, I don't think we're getting a bad match. I don't think we're getting any gaga. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with him and Brock Lesnar if that happens at Wrestlepalooza. Because we've had some pretty interesting matches between the two in the past. Probably the one that people remember the most is when John Cena got the shit kicked out of him. It was a squash, and at the time it felt like a purge. It felt like at the time, because I remember Kevin and I covering this in real time, that it felt like WWE was saying, okay, for everybody out there that, you know, is just tired of Super Cena, here you go. Brock is just going to beat the balls out of John Cena and win it clean, kick ass. And that happened. But we've also seen the opposite. So John Cena just really, really put on a performance today. And Logan Paul, again, I know people don't want to say it. I don't like the man. I have to always preface it by saying that. You cannot deny this guy. If there was any weakness, it's his promo. It's his promo. He tries to talk too much like we would trash talk on social media. You know what I mean? Like there's an art of cutting a wrestling promo. You know, and yes, some of the greatest wrestling promos of this generation are based on reality. That's why Eddie Kingston, Homicides always stuck out. That's why even when Heath Slater made that one return to the WWE with Drew McIntyre, you know, people always remember it because it was based on reality. And sometimes when someone cuts a promo and gets to use their real life situation, it really becomes emotional for real. And when you could feel it and you're cutting a promo at the same time, that's what makes it magical. A lot of wrestlers have that. Logan Paul tries to trash talk like you would trash talk someone on social media if you did a TikTok video or something like that. But Logan Paul in the ring, you know, you when you see a few people say it, okay. When you see over and over people saying that Logan Paul is better than 75% of wrestling, WWE, AEW, and everything else, that's saying something. And, you know, what's so tremendous about it is Logan Paul, I don't think, is trying for 5-star matches. You know, there are some wrestlers out there that their obsession is to have a 5-star match. Some people that have these wild obsessions, unfortunately, it ends up biting them in the ass in the end. You look at how many people have had 5-star matches in the last couple of years and they end up pretty injured. You know, eventually they get, you know, put it this way. If you have to kill your body to get a 5-star match and not just have a scientifically spectacular, story-driven, you know, very, you know, like just a match where it just really, really gets everybody engaged, like, instead of just doing insane moves, you know, that's a lost art. To be able to tell a story and really tell your story in the ring without having to kill yourself, you know, that's kind of a lost art. Logan Paul, I don't like the man, but that guy's going to be a future world champion. I don't know, you know, like when it happens and who it's against and how long he keeps it. But I think at some point it's going to happen. All I'll say is, out of anybody that came out from outside the wrestling business in, and you thought was taking it like easy street. Oh, you know, I'm a big star outside of wrestling, and I'm just going to use wrestling as as like a hobby. He might be top 3 of the greatest of all time. Now he still has many years to go. I wouldn't call him, you know, a Hall of Famer or anything like that. And who knows? He could be one stupid move away from getting his ass, you know, pretty injured, and then he's out for a year. But so far, I don't see anybody coming this close for having that kind of smoothness and talent in the ring. I mean, you've had other people come in and have an unbelievable match like Bad Bunny, you know, but that was, you know, one and done. You've had other people who came from football and others that come in and become a huge star. But as far as that kind of capability in the ring, you know, this is something very, very unique. I loved how John Cena was paying tribute. You know, Cesaro got a little love from Logan Paul tonight. John Cena hit the Styles Clash, hit End of Days, hit Dolph Ziggler's finisher. And it was funny because Michael Cole was mentioning wrestlers' names, but when it came to Baron Corbin, no mention whatsoever. But I will say, even though Baron Corbin's been kind of a dick since he's been released from the WWE, feeling that he didn't get a fair shake, which honestly, he's like a cat that had 11 lives in the WWE. John Cena paid tribute to him today. And I thought that was pretty fucking cool. And John Cena, like I said at the beginning of the show, said at the end of after the event was over, if I can't wrestle these people again, I could sure pay a little tribute by just little move. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, the question is, who's he going to pay tribute to next? Because there's quite a few people that he still has to, you know, pay tribute to. So he has 8 appearances left. Today was John Cena's 99th victory on a pay-per-view / premium live event. From my calculations, he's got 2 premium live events left. He has Australia and he has Wrestlepalooza. So he just needs to win one of those 2 and he'll hit the magic 100 as far as premium live event victories go. I don't know who holds the record for most wins. I don't think it is him. But maybe someone in the chat could look it up. But, oh, they said Undertaker. Yes, you're right. Undertaker. Which is kind of fabulous to think about. I mean, obviously Undertaker had an undefeated streak at Mania and won a good chunk of his matches. But 100 pay-per-views? And who knows? He had, okay, Speedy says 107. Like, if I look back at the 107 victories that Undertaker had on a pay-per-view, can we be honest without being disrespectful to say maybe half of them were kind of like, you didn't have to, put on an amazing performance. Those early WrestleMania matches, almost all of them, you're like, ugh, some of them 2-3 minutes. But, maybe I'll come up with the top 10 tomorrow, since I'm going to be doing the show earlier in the day. But John Cena, towards the end, he hit the attitude adjustment to Logan Paul. And then Logan Paul actually got a punch. Logan Paul hit his punch a few times during this match, but John Cena hits an AA. He goes to set up a second AA, but Logan Paul nails him. And then when Logan Paul goes, I guess, to try to hit a finisher, John Cena picks him up again, hits a second AA, and gets the victory. And after the match was over, he goes at ringside, hugs Jelly Roll. Some fans, that little kid that he dissed earlier in the year was there, kissed his wife, which they mentioned on TV. And crowd loved it. What was kind of surprising was this was John Cena's first ever premium live match in Paris. So it's kind of surprising, but it was a very good match. I put it as my favorite of the night only because of how much it delivered. And the main event, as we said at the beginning of the show, Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship. LA Knight is stuck in the mud, if we're being honest. CM Punk, I think bringing in AJ Lee might be the best for him right now, because I don't know where you go with CM Punk next. Jey Uso, you kind of have a few options there, but Jey Uso selling the injury, so Jey Uso pretty much was negated. Early on, you had a 3-on-1. The one thing that did make me laugh, you guys probably noticed it, when they paid a little tribute to the Dudleys. LA Knight is in the ring with Jey Uso and CM Punk. CM Punk and Jey Uso are doing the yeet. And LA Knight is like, nah. And I thought he was going to go, LA Knight. But instead, they decide to pay a little tribute to the Dudleys. And he brings up a table. So if you go back and you watch it, you see what I'm talking about. CM Punk taps like Jey Uso on the chest. And he's like, Jay, get the tables. There was no reaction from the Paris fans. I don't think Paris fans even understood what the reference was. It was pretty funny because you would have thought you would have heard everybody say, get the tables. But CM Punk's like, Jay, what? Get the table. There was no reaction. They went outside the ring, grabbed the table, then they popped. But then Jey Uso, trusting nobody, he super kicks CM Punk. And it's every man for himself. Seth Rollins ends up curb stomping Jey Uso and LA Knight outside the ring, which set up the finish. They're knocked out. They're not breaking up the pin. So it's now CM Punk and Seth Rollins only. And, Seth Rollins taunting CM Punk, I hate you. I hate your family. I don't want you to ever have another match in this company ever again. And suddenly CM Punk picks him up, hits the go to sleep. And then Seth Rollins bounces off the ropes and falls right onto CM Punk's shoulders. And he's set up again for another go to sleep. And CM Punk is laughing like, hey, look what I found. And it kind of fell flat because CM Punk is like standing there acknowledging the crowd and he's smiling and he's like, go to sleep. Instead of just nailing the move, rapido. And this gives Becky Lynch enough time to show up on the opposite side of the ring, low blows CM Punk, and then unmasks to reveal that it's Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins hits the curb, beats CM Punk, and that's how we go off the air. Again, to me, that main event match fell extremely flat. It was a four-way. There should have been more outside the ring. You didn't have any brawling into the crowd. There was some, double team antics, 3-on-1s. There was some points where everybody was over. But as I'm watching this, there was one point where CM Punk was jaw-jacking with LA Knight. And crowd was serenading Seth Rollins as he was doing it. And you hear Seth Rollins saying LA Knight, they don't care about you. They're not even singing you. They're not even acknowledging you right now, singing your whatever. And they're singing Seth Rollins, is serenading him. And I don't know if that becomes storyline later on. I don't know if LA Knight needs to turn heel. Maybe LA Knight and Jey Uso need to feud. Maybe that's where you go. Maybe you go that route. But LA Knight is stuck in the mud. CM Punk, if you're going to continue this Seth Rollins, which we thought was over, if you're going to continue this, you probably have to bring in AJ Lee. You have to bring in AJ Lee, unless you're going to do like a Hell in a Cell at Wrestlepalooza or something like that. And even that, I think people will be like, I don't know if I want to see that. So I think LA Knight may need to turn. Might be the best for him right now. And we go from there. Match was okay. It's not going to be a match that I'm going to remember other than Becky Lynch showing up. Does she join the Vision? I don't know. Because what happens after Wrestlepalooza if we have this tag match? Again, got to be careful about it, because if AJ Lee gets a victory, then people are going to say, oh, she should get a title shot against Becky Lynch. So they got to make it perfectly clear that if this is a one and done, they really got to push this about being a one and done. So, not a bad event. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 7. I think that's pretty fair. Best match of the night, again, I put Cena and Logan Paul number 1. I put Sheamus and Rusev a very close number 2. And my least favorite one of the night was Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Some quick feedback from some of you out there. Peter Gribbo from Brooklyn, he says, to me, there's no doubt John Cena handpicked Logan Paul as one of his final opponents. I know you don't like him, DT, but he's a future world champion. I kind of sense that he will. I don't know when that'll happen. I don't see him dethroning Cody Rhodes, obviously. And right now, Seth Rollins is champion. I don't see that changing anytime soon. But there's no doubt, as much as I don't like him, you got to acknowledge the fact that he is good at what he does. Sometimes you hate that. Let's be honest, deep down inside, wouldn't you have wanted Logan Paul to screw up? If you don't like someone, don't you want to see them kind of slide a little bit? And that's human nature. That's human nature, but he is really good at what he does, and got to give him credit for that. Jay Paulin says, for Survivor Series, what do I think would be on Team Seth for War Games? I don't think we're getting a War Games match with Team Seth. I still think it's going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. The fact that they got Jimmy Uso aligned with Sami Zayn again, and they're aligned with Jacob Fatu, and you got the MFT shit, and Jimmy Uso is back in good graces with Jey Uso, who's with Roman Reigns. I just still fear it's going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. I don't like the Seth Rollins heel, unless you put LA Knight. If you have LA Knight turn heel, have LA Knight join the Vision. Add Austin Theory to the Vision. You got to increase that faction a little bit. I don't want to see that group and then they just add somebody to it. You remember when Drew McIntyre teamed up with the Judgment Day for War Games? Wasn't it War Games? Drew McIntyre teamed up with Judgment Day, and it was kind of like, oh, well, that's because they needed to add someone, and it just didn't feel like it should have been. So I don't think we're going to get Seth Rollins in that capacity. DP Deadeye, Dave the Chef Park, he's been missing the shows. Rest in peace, Kev. Since when was Maven become the voice of YouTube these days? He was a jobber for 2 years in the WWE. All the best to the GOAT, DT. Thank you. Maven is a character. I mean, he's easy on the eyes. He's got charisma. He's very, very intelligent, very soft-spoken. You know, he knows that he can be a social media influencer and people like his videos. Now, there's a lot of clickbait attached to it. And because other people want to get social media clout, there's always someone out there that he can bring on to get a little extra attention. I mean, I feel bad, but look at Buff Bagwell. Buff Bagwell decides to go to Maven to fucking literally tell the world outside of the news organizations, yeah, I'm getting my leg cut off. You know, and that lasted for 5 days. And, you know, all it really did for a lot of people's eyes was, you know, Maven got a lot of hits out of it. You see, oh, I showed up at Just Incredible. What was it like to be under Triple H? Oh, you know, how do I eat a finisher? And, you know, after a while, it's going to get tiresome and old. But he's capitalizing now. People like it. Good for him. Good for him. You know, I just remember the days where Maven, you know, was a hustler, but in different ways. You got to look it up to see what I'm talking about. But he's good at what he does. But I don't think Maven is addicted to social media like clout. And when we get to Rampage and Roger Jackson a little bit, what I show you later is only 3 minutes, but it's a huge problem. And make no mistake about it, every fucking legend that covered the Roger Jackson Syko Stu incident totally failed because of one important factor, because they don't understand it themselves. But I'll explain in a little bit. But thank you for that. Speedy says that Chad Gable was a CPR dummy with a wig on. Okay. All right. I thought the haunted house stuff was great. I thought it was great. Everybody that I have talked to that have been in Universal the last couple of days said that they had a great time. You know, they knew it wasn't going to be, it's for people that are WWE fans, I think, more than anything. If you're a really horror film, hardcore horror nut, you'll probably say, this was, what do we see? We saw one fucking special effects thing, a pig eating fucking, you know, intestines. Like, it wasn't gory like others, but there were parts of it that were pretty dark that you wouldn't see on WWE television. But I have a few people on Patreon that have gone and live in Florida. And one, like I said, somebody sent me a video earlier that we showed, and they all loved it. They said they had a great time. They said it was good. I'll tell you, a lot of work was put into that. They did a shitload of work for that. I don't know how much WWE got for that, but you know, the Wyatt Sicks, their jobs, I think, are safe for a little while. They're safe for a little while. Manny Angel, just wanted to show love to all of you out there, to me, and happy Labor Day weekend, everyone. I thank you for that, my friend. Hope you're enjoying it as well. You know, I keep forgetting that I don't have to work tomorrow, even though I do have to do like an hour's worth of work tomorrow. But much love to you, Manny. Thank you, as always, for your support. And King Arthur, match quality was horrible, utterly irrelevant for the first decade of WrestleMania. Savage versus Steamboat was an outlier of outliers. Yeah, look, a lot of the matches then was, you know, you really didn't have, it just wasn't the style at the time. I mean, I grew up watching wrestling in the 80s. And I remember many times watching some of my favorites. You look at like Rocky Johnson, for example. Watch a match of Rocky Johnson in Championship Wrestling, All-Star Wrestling. And you'd be like, you'll fall asleep. You'll fall asleep. He does headlocks. He'll take someone down and he'll do a headlock while he's on his knees. He'll do a headlock while he's sitting on his ass. You know, somebody will hit him a little bit and they'll get a little bit mad, and then he'll do some little shooky, throws a couple of drop kick, sunset flip, match is over. And you watch it like, it kind of sucked. I mean, at that time, headlocks and takedowns and, you know, I mean, the most infamous one, wasn't it Andre the Giant and Big John Studd? I think they were on the mat for 11 minutes or 7 minutes. There's a match online. I'm pretty sure it's Andre versus Big John Studd. And I think they're on the mat for like 7 minutes. I think it's just like an arm headlock or like an armbar or some, and literally nothing. It just goes on and on and on. Matches during that time weren't uber exciting. We had Dynamite Kid, had the British Bulldog, had the Invaders, had, tag wrestlers, Mil Mascatus. There were wrestlers that obviously, but they were more like out of the ordinary. You saw something like that, you felt like, oh, you're getting a treat. It's almost like a special, attraction. So Steamboat Savage at that time was not the match that everybody talked about. It's obviously grown in lore as history goes on. Back then, a lot of people weren't as into it as you think because there was a lot of goofiness involved with George the Animal Steel and mine, and Miss Elizabeth. There was a lot of goofiness with that as well. Turned out to be a spectacular match that held up. But yeah, I mean, match quality back then, it was quite irrelevant. I totally agree with you. Totally get that. Absolutely agree. Okay. Start bringing this home a little bit. I definitely want to mention quickly, Syko Stu, Stuart Smith, was released from the hospital. This is a picture of him coming out of, actually, wait, this is a better picture. Yeah. That's him after he was released from the hospital. I will explain a few things, and I will clear up a little bit of controversy that some people have put out there, including Baby Doll, and nobody was trying to be deceiving about it. I will explain, and this will kind of explain it too. The statement that was put out was that Stewart has been released from the hospital and is home resting. He sustained a serious head injury and was unconscious upon arrival at the ER. His injuries included trauma to both the upper and lower jaws, a laceration to his upper lip, a fracture to his maxilla bone, which unfortunately resulted in the loss of several teeth. He has a long road to recovery ahead, but he remains in good spirits despite everything he's been through. We are deeply grateful for all the love and support we've received during this time. Thank you to everyone who has contributed in any way, whether through monetary donations, food, flowers, or gifts. Your kindness means more than words can express. From the bottom of my heart, thank you with love and respect, Contessa Patterson and Stuart Smith, a.k.a. Syko Stu. To clear up some controversy, quite a few people online, and Baby Doll, like I said, was the name that stood out the most, were like, wait, we have pictures of him in the hospital. Where's the bruising? Where's the black eyes? Where's the swollenness? He got hit 20 plus times. How is... Well, hopefully that explanation answers it. He wasn't punched in the eyes. He wasn't punched in the top of his head. Every shot was over here, and the guy has a giant beard. So all the bruising, all the laceration, I'm surprised he didn't shave his beard off. But that's why you don't see anything up here. If he was hit up here, he would have been dead. I think we all agree. If he would have got hit in the temple once unconscious, he would have been dead. So if there's any consolation that is good, is the fact that everything was here. So that is why people didn't see bruising and swollen eyes, and that's the reason why. I just wanted to clear that up. Now, very quickly, I got a pretty vicious DM after last week's show from somebody who apparently is friends with AJ Mana and told me to be careful what I say going forward, whatever that means. I'm not concerned at all. I mean, I've been doing this for 27 years and I've had my share of wise ass shit. But I'll say this. The reason why this guy is a clown, and now he's an unemployed clown for KnokX Pro Wrestling, is because he did something that the promoter didn't, that no other wrestler in that company did either. And this is the thing that, with all due respect, every wrestling personality from from Dutch Mantel to Jim Cornette. Every single one of them got it wrong. You know why they got it wrong? They talked for up to an hour about this. You know why they got it wrong? Because they don't understand. They never answered the question, why was Raja Jackson there? He wasn't there to become a wrestler. He wasn't there because he always wanted to get in the ring. He wasn't there because he was there for his kick stream. He's a clout chaser. Rampage Jackson is even worse than Raja Jackson as far as clout chasing. And I'll give you an example of it right now. I feel bad for Rampage Jackson for, no one wants to see their son become of what he's seen. But what amazes me about Rampage Jackson is if he takes a shit, he fucking kick streams it. Every goddamn thing this guy says and does is a kick stream. Rampage Jackson and Raja Jackson is a smaller problem of a massive issue in this world, and that is clout chasing. They are addicted to having clout, and that is why this happened. If anybody watched all the streams and paid attention, Raja Jackson got riled up from his streamers. 50 subs, and I'll knock his ass out. Raja Jackson was getting angry at streamers on his kick stream and saying, you're not going to do nothing. You're not going to do nothing. Oh, yeah? Watch this. This is a very serious problem in society today. Rampage Jackson, did you guys see this video? He's trying so hard to make excuses for his son. I don't know who this woman is. For a minute, I thought it was Nikki Bella. He's in his fucking truck with some woman, and if you look closely, she makes sure to hold his hand off camera, so it looks like, I feel so bad. Oh, and again, on a fucking kick stream.
But this don't got nothing to do.
Let me hold your hand.
Nothing that's going on. But all I'm going to say is that my son hasn't been the same since his mom got murdered. It hasn't. And I know that. And I've been trying to be there for him and, make him laugh and cheer him up and everything. But I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know what the fuck to do. And, I know my kids.
By the way, 30 seconds, you haven't looked at the road once. You're driving.
He hasn't been the same. With me, like, he's just been distant from me. Like, he want to be more of a man and more of this.
Well, maybe he's in the back seat. He could be in the back seat. Let's give him a little credit there. I think he's in the back seat. I don't think he could have streamed that, though.
I don't know how to deal with this shit.
No, I think he's driving. I don't know. I'm not blaming Rampage Jackson. What I am saying is that they are addicted to clout chasing. They stream everything on Kick. Their entire life has got to be a Kick stream. And when you have that addiction, it's like a drug. And again, this is what this AJ Mana doesn't understand. If you look at the promoter, if you look at all the other wrestlers, they ain't paying attention to some fucking guy holding a phone up for Raja Jackson for his kick stream. Everybody else is just doing their thing, and they're in character because to them, if any outsiders show up, no, I'm doing my thing. That is the problem. They are addicted to clout chasing. They're addicted to kick streams. That's why this assault happened. If Raja Jackson was not on Kick that day, he would have no reason to be there. He's not this giant wrestling fan. He wasn't trying to become a wrestler. He did it for a kick stream. And everything that led up to was a kick stream. And remember, AJ Mana is the only one that looked right into the fucking camera and said, don't forget, you got to give him a receipt. Remember what I told you earlier? All this shit was put on a live stream so all of his followers saw what this guy was telling him. That's where AJ Mana fucked up. Now, AJ Mana has since been fired. Some people are saying he's an accessory. He did his own stream. And boy, did he go off the fucking rails. Now, I don't know who his partner is that's talking to. He thinks he's a fucking genius. But what they don't realize is that this is all because of an addiction to clout chasing. Now, AJ Mana, take note, there is no sympathy whatsoever for Syko Stu, and there's no apology from him. His take is, if I'm going to crash and burn, I'm taking every motherfucker down with me.
That's a receipt, bitch. That's all the fuck I told Roger to do. The only thing I told Roger to do was give him a fucking receipt because that's what the promoter wanted to do, to fucking be done.
This storyline, and then the shit gets out of hand, and you not
watch the video. Who told Roger to throw the punch? Watch the fucking video. Here. I'll give you a hint. You ready? And I quote: "Get in there and fuck that motherfucker up."
You run in and fuck that motherfucker up in the mat. You know, ready for that?
Yeah.
Did that come out of my mouth? No, came out of the promoter's mouth. Fuck you. What, I'm supposed to kayfabe this shit to protect them? Fuck you. Y'all niggas watching me burn. Y'all told me to shut up and not say nothing just so I can fucking get buried. Fuck y'all. No, I ain't shutting up about nothing. I'm telling the whole fucking truth. Like it or not. And if you don't like it, pull up, bitch. I ain't got nothing to lose. Pull up. Motherfucker.
The one point that I really want to overemphasize is that he knew beforehand that Raja was not a worker. He was not a worker. He knew that beforehand. But if you just look at the video, it looks like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know. But from somebody that was there, that's not the truth.
Hello? What is alcohol doing in the fucking locker room? Why are we getting intoxicated before the fucking show? Every fucking show for 6 years. And tell me if I'm lying, motherfucker, because I did it with you. Yeah, that part. You want to bury me? You're all coming down with me. I'm that motherfucker.
Raul Harris, thank you. Thank you. Rampage Jackson was probably driving a Cybertruck. Brilliant. Excellent. That explains it. I still would watch the road, but hey, listen, again, in no way, shape, or form do I think Rampage Jackson ever hyped up his son to do something like that to somebody. And I do, and I said this last week, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again now. I feel bad that him as a father has to see what's going on right now. I will tell you that people that live and indie guys and people around that area have said, you got to go on some message boards, some Reddits, and you got to look at some Facebook pages too. You know, you got to see the community and see the people around it. The big thing that people are saying right now is, why has Roger Jackson not been arrested? You know, I will tell you that based on people locally in LA that are around that situation, and I trust them because some of them had said about AJ Mana being fired before anybody else. Some of them also had revealed, it started on Facebook, that the promoter told the wrestlers, don't cooperate with the authorities. That's a little bit exaggerated, to be honest with you, but word around the streets over there is that Raja Jackson has already spoken with LAPD, and they're determining if charges are going to be filed. My gut feeling is that there has to be charges. It has to be charges because this was not planned. Some people think that Stu told him, lay it into me. That to me, that put it this way, if I tell someone right now, put a bullet through my head, go ahead and do it. And let's see if the cops arrest you. But he told me to do it. If I tell you, here, take this ceramic ceramic sausage and crack it over my head. Even if my head splits open. It's great. It's for a live stream. Let's see if the cops still arrest you. Oh, no, but he told you, dude, it's okay. It's okay. It's like my co-host used to say, God rest Kev's soul. You can't cancel 911. Can't cancel 911. So word around the streets is that something ultimately is going to be filed. The only question is, why is it taking so long? It's been 8 days. It's been 8 days, but he has already spoken with investigators. Some people are saying that Roger Jackson's already lawyered up. That would be very, very smart. Have no idea what Stu is going to do. Now, the GoFundMe has raised almost $220,000 as of this recording. So Stu will have his bills taken care of. Trust me, those hospital bills probably exceed $100,000 minimum. So it's a pretty big deal. But listen, you know, as far as this AJ Mana guy goes, what he doesn't understand, and even that video proves it, none of them realize in the head of Roger Jackson, it was about clout on social media. That's the problem. And that's the thing that every fucking wrestling Hall of Famer that does a podcast missed. They don't understand the addiction that a lot of people have online for clout. You know, this is not like, oh, let me get a little ad revenue. This is a psychological thing. You know, again, you see the Rampage Jackson. If you look at his channel closely, this guy needs to have the whole world to see what he's doing. Because if people are watching, he feels important. Rampage Jackson, as far as I know and have seen, he's a good guy. I don't have really anything bad to say about him. But his son, number one, that guy should not be streaming. Delete his fucking channel. You know, in fact, I would even, if I'm the courts, I make an agreement. No online streaming for 5 years. This is a very serious issue. A lot of people have lost their lives, ruined their lives, caused other people to lose their lives simply for clout. How many times do you see tragedies where there was something not too long ago where some guy had beef. He went on a live stream and had beef with another streamer. And then he was walking like on a streets, like in a shopping area. And the guy showed up with his girlfriend and took him out live on video. We've seen too many times where, oh, this person's streaming and somebody breaks in the house, starts blowing him away. Clout chasing is deadly. It is addictive and it is psychological. And that's the problem. This is why this happened. Period. This incident with Roger Jackson and Syko Stu happened because of the necessity and the addiction of clout chasing and having the kick stream and having everybody look at it. And that's where AJ Mana got it wrong. He fed directly into that kick stream. No one else did. No one else was just going about their business, doing the wrestling stuff. He didn't. And he didn't realize that. And look at everybody in wrestling that are analyzing this, that they didn't realize it either. This is a major problem in society today. How many times have you heard tragedies? I mean, almost every week you see something pop up on the news. TikTok streamer passes away at 25. You know, kick streamer passes away at 30. So-and-so passes away at 22. So-and-so is arrested for this. Because this ruins their life. Everything is about the feeling of being important, being accepted, having a following. That's why this happened. That is the reason why this happened. And none of them get it. All right. What else do I want to get into? I think that was it. We talked about AEW earlier. Oh. Got to show you this. Joey Ryan put out a YouTube video. What is cancel culture? Episode 4. Canceled, recovered, ready. What Joey Ryan is now doing, that's not good. That's better. What Joey Ryan is now doing is he is now reaching out to the victims, if you call them that, people who have been canceled by cancel culture. I swear on my family, I swear on my dogs, my wife, my parents, my life. I'm not making this up. He's now reaching out, trying to be the voice and help those who have been canceled out by cancel culture. I swear to fucking God, if you want to amuse yourself, go on his YouTube channel. In fact, I'll even put up a link after the show is over so you could watch it. What this Nimrod, what this Matarazz doesn't understand is that usually when you're canceled, it's because you fucked up. He's now trying to console those. Have you been victimized? And you know what's funny? Joey Ryan sounds exactly like he did when he was having all those relationships with those women. Have you been victimized? Have you had a bad relationship? Are you depressed like me? You know, oh, life sucks. Yeah, me too. Why does life treat us this way? Why do relationships go this bad? Oh, just talking to you makes me feel better. I feel the same. Let's get together. Let's, we could be friends. Let's make out. Let's make out. I feel together. It's Joey Ryan's literally doing the same thing he did before, only instead of the women in wrestling, now he's going for the people who have been canceled out. So who the fuck is going to respond to him? It's everybody who's been canceled out by cancel culture. You usually get canceled out for doing something really fucked up. What are you going to do? Console them? Share your stories about being canceled out? You don't want to be canceled. I don't want to be canceled. Nobody likes us. Nobody wants us to do it. Everybody wants us to disappear from the face of the earth. You make me feel better. I make you feel better. Let's make out. Am I wrong? Joey Ryan, man, seriously. You thought you were a great wrestler. Go wrestle in a different country. Go to a different country. I honestly think, go to Mexico. I don't know if you're any worse than Alberto El Patron was. Go to Mexico. Wrestle in Mexico. Go wrestle for other countries. Get off your lazy California ass and go to a different country and wrestle and get a little bit of exposure. You want to wrestle that bad, go to a different country. Go wrestle some dumb fuck. Go wrestle La Ignoramus, and maybe you'll get a little bit of buzz there. So, boy, oh man, people say, oh, you're just jealous. You think I want to be in those situations? Who no. All right, let's start bringing this home a little bit. I want to shout out some very special people. Days and Nay, Just Joe, King Arthur 97, Kevin Milwaukee, Sir Manny Angel, AS 7607, King of Games, 4054, Xander Elion, Michael Gonzalez, Benjamin 119, Speedy De Palma. I know that's 11. That's our top 10 most active Tonight Live. Much love to you. I know we said we were going to go 2 hours. Let's go 2.5. Let's hang out for another 15 minutes. Let's talk whatever you want to guys talk about. No, Tony Randall. I love that name. Alberto El Patron will return to AAA. If WWE really wants to prove to AAA and the Mexican wrestling fans that they're not going to intervene as much as people think, Alberto El Patron has to return. Because in that country, they are more forgiving for his behavior. They will turn a blind eye more. Just like Saudi Arabia, man. I hate to use that as an example, but look at some of the way Saudi Arabia views women, that views gays. Does WWE not do business with them because of their treatment towards or their viewpoint about certain things? No, they kind of don't get involved. Same thing with Alberto El Patron. It doesn't exempt for his past behavior, and I think Patron might be on his best behavior going forward. But I think he is returning to AAA. absolutely returning to AAA. I would even love to see him get involved in a Dominic Mysterio Elio Del Vikingo match coming up. He's got to come back. He has to come back. That promotion he tried to start a couple of years ago, they had 1 or 2 events that didn't go anywhere. He will return. Guardian Cass, what's up, my friend? Him and Austin Nance holding down a ship tonight. In my opinion, what haven't Marshall and Ross Von Erich been pushed? They've been in the business a dozen years, or I think he means why haven't they been pushed? Because of their name. Because of their name. If they came in as Marshall and Ross Smith, that's a very cheesy name, but if they didn't have the Von Erich name, I think they would be held in a much more reasonable standard. When you come in, not only with a big name attached to you, but you are part of that family, you're held to a higher standard. And I think that's the reason why. Being in the business for 12 years is fine. They're still extremely young, and they absolutely can still, have a huge career ahead of them. But I think because of their name and the reputation and the history of the Von Erich family, like the bar is set really, really high. I don't want to compare it to like Braun Breaker because he acknowledged the Steiner family. In fact, it was funny. I was working on my history show for next week yesterday, and I totally forgot that Braun Breaker, right before, a lot of you may have forgot about this, when Braun Breaker made his NXT debut, not as a security guard, but in the ring, for a brief moment, they changed his name to Rex Steiner. That was his name for it might have only been a week. It changed to Rex Steiner, and then they changed it to Braun Breaker, and he came out as Braun Breaker. But when you have a family name attached to it, the bar is always set higher. Even, I'll give you an example. Shaul Guerrero. Here's a random one. Shaul Guerrero. I remember when there was buzz about Shaul Guerrero, everyone's like, ooh, Guerrero? Guerrero. Ooh. So you always feel that their level, their talent is much, much more polished. Lacey Von Erich. Remember how everybody was, focused on her because of the name. So I think it's the name. I think it's the name more than anything. But you want to know something? It's kind of good that they have, been present and visible, but not really focused on, because there's so many other people that have gotten that opportunity. So adding experience and adding years is only going to make you better and wiser and stronger. So when it is ready to take that next step, people feel like, okay, he's ready. He's got it. And that's when you see the promotion. You got to also remember, too, just because you have a name attached to you doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a great talent or you even want to work a heavy schedule. Some people just want enough, to just satisfy, if I wrestle once a week and I get to go home, it's enough for me. I don't need to travel the world. I don't need to do this. I just want to do this and this. Not every person wants that grind. I'm not saying that they don't want that grind, but just because somebody has a famous name attached to them doesn't mean immediately that they want to be the next big thing in their family. So, all right. Boris is asking, am I looking forward to Street Fighter with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns? And 50 said, you know what? I'm going to check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out. I used to enjoy the Street Fighter video games, Mortal Kombat. I grew up, playing those games. Weren't my absolute favorites, but, to see it brought to life in a human way, it's interesting. I want to see, how they do. I mean, I think Cody Rhodes is an actor I'm still getting used to. Like, I didn't watch Naked Gun, the remake, the new one that's out, but I've seen clips of it. And to see Cody Rhodes in that, it just, I don't know, it hasn't hit me yet that Cody Rhodes is gonna, in the acting now. Roman Reigns, I always felt, and I think we always all felt that Roman Reigns just has that look and size and just presence about him that, yeah, he definitely could land some nice roles in Hollywood. So Street Fighter, the question is, how much of the wrestling will they do? Are we going to see a Superman punch in Street Fighter? I don't know. Like, if I'm playing a video game, if we're playing Street Fighter, the video game, and my opponent started, going, wah, they ran up and was going to Superman punch me, I just kick him right in the fucking jaw. Finish him. Just grab him by the head. I'm mixing a bunch of games together, but seriously, like, if I do the Superman punch and I'm in a Street Fighter game, nah, that shit ain't working. That ain't cutting it. It'd be like, just give a nice elbow to the jaw and just watch all the blood go up in the air. So, fuck him. Street Fighter. But I think Roman will do great. I really do. I think it's going to be good. 50 Cent's going to be funny. Oh, by the way, how many of you out there watched Real American Wrestling? Real American Freestyle Wrestling. I did not watch it on Fox. I don't subscribe to them. I did watch clips online. I thought it was okay. I mean, none of the people there, like, not even Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz, I just keep thinking of Don West. Tito Ortiz. That was when Bully Ray wanted to kick Kevin Mayne's ass. That's when whenever somebody says, oh, that's the anniversary when Tito Ortiz debuted, I'm like, yeah, that's the anniversary when we almost got our ass kicked. They're trying to add additional drama to it. And it's okay. They had about 2,000 people in attendance. My take about it is this. I think of the XFL. I think of other ventures. I think of the midget wrestling. Remember the hardcore shit back then? There's been a lot of companies launch. And my opinion is the first event is usually the biggest. And then it's 50% of what it was by episode 3. So even though there was a lot of buzz around this first one, a lot of excitement, I think within a couple of episodes, the viewership is going to be substantially lower. And this money guy that's involved with this, I think by a couple of episodes, they're going to realize, yeah, we ain't making the fucking money. I don't know how many people are going to be sporting a Vladimir, blah, 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 whoever that guy was fighting in the main event. I don't know how many people are going to be wearing his T-shirt. You know what I mean? So, like, where are they going to really make their money? I'm sure they made some money with the Fox deal, but I wonder how much of it was, the opposite. How much did they give up to be able to be on the Fox streaming service? So I personally think, and I'm not trying to be a dick, like Bischoff used to predict AEW would be closed within. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I think within a few episodes, it's going to lose its luster. And then if it starts trying to become real freestyle wrestling sports entertainment or real freestyle sports entertainment, it'll be dead. It'll be dead and buried. When they start that, remember the XFL? Remember they were trying to do storylines? Remember that commentator, the nerd that went into the women's locker room and they tried to do storylines, and then there was Matt Veskurgen is like, I'm fucking out of here. A lot of you forget the XFL from 2001, I think it was. Go back and look at there's some documentaries on it. When Vince tried to turn storylines on TV, that's when it was dead. So I kind of fear that Real American Freestyle Wrestling, after a couple of episodes, when it loses that luster and it gets half the viewers and people really just aren't interested like that, oh, we'll spice it up. We'll have this person do this. That'll be dead. That'll be dead. I know I couldn't say that, right? Real, oh my God. Real freestyle wrestling. Real freestyle wrestling. Real freestyle wrestling. That is a tongue twister. It is a tongue twister. A lot of people have been asking, I saw earlier, has there been any crazy shit with Curtis Lewa renting the office next to me? Nah, last week was kind of quiet. There was a couple of people outside live streaming. I don't know why, but it was weird. They were in the parking lot looking up live streaming, and I looked outside, and I see like two people just live streaming, and I'm like, I don't know what you're looking at. Curtis Lee was not even there. So, you know, this was the picture. No, that's not it. There you go. That was the picture from last week. That was the picture. So, I still am keeping my political views to myself right now. All right, this is a good one. 316 MMA. How do I put AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio tomorrow? El Hijo del Viqueño. Elio, do you have a passport to go to France? I don't know who I'm impersonating here, but I think Viqueño, they probably flew him to France. Say that fast 10 times. I think he has to get involved in the Dominic Mysterio match. If he did not fly all the way to France to try to hurt Dominic or help AJ, then El Grande Americano will get involved. Maybe both, but El Grande Americano should get involved. I think he will get involved. Their match is coming up very shortly. Dominic and Viqueño is happening very, very shortly. You have to boost that match up and hype it up. Something needs to happen amongst the WWE fans, American fans, and Paris is fine too, where Viqueño gets a little pop because in Mexico right now he's getting booed out of the building because of the treatment of Patron. The event of Viqueño versus Dominic, main eventing AAA, is happening in Las Vegas. I think it's happening in Vegas. So he's safe. He's in the United States, but something needs to progress on television for Dominic and Viqueño. The question is, does AJ Styles beat Dominic Mysterio for that championship leading into AAA? I don't think so. I think having a title change on Raw in France would be phenomenal, no pun intended. But I think as of right now, I think Dominic Mysterio is the next mega champion in AAA. I think Dominic will be that champion. The question is, does he hold 2 belts or does he hold 1? And no, I don't think he is going to parade a AAA championship like Mercedes Moné portrays every other belt. And I'm not knocking her. I don't think you're going to see AAA titles always paraded on WWE television. If Dominic loses the IC championship, then he has to hold just the AAA. And if Dominic's a champion, you want him to walk around with gold. And I don't see him walking around just with the AAA championship. So my gut feeling is that, no, I don't think AJ Styles will win tomorrow. But if it was up to me, I would have Viqueño show up, have Americano show up. Maybe Americano is about to help Dominic win, but here comes Viqueño. Viqueño neutralizes El Grande Americano. That allows AJ Styles to hit the Styles Clash on Dominic Mysterio, wins the IC title. That's me, the wrestling fan, booking it. But what happens on Raw is probably going to be a totally different thing. What happened with Bruce Willis? Did he pass away? Somebody wrote about Bruce Willis in the chat. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. You know, his health is just, he's a guy that we fear in 2025 or 2026. You know, it's just, I don't think he passed away, but I think he's just in just really bad shape. Did you hear about what happened to Rudy Giuliani? Yeah. Bruce Willis cannot speak anymore. Yeah. It's tragic, man. I grew up watching Bruce Willis do commercials and do moonlighting. And even back then, I thought he was great. I thought he was good. Remember when he had a lot of hair? He had a lot more hair. He used to do the commercials. What was the commercials? Were the commercials beer commercials? I can't remember what the commercials were, but I used to love watching Moonlighting when I was growing up as a kid. Moonlighting was good, man. Sybil Shepherd was a lot better than I thought. You know, she was great. That was a great TV show. But I don't remember the commercials he was in, but I do remember him always. No, it was crisp, it was clean. He used to be really cool. It might have been soda. Maybe it was soda. And now I'm having little flashbacks of Bruce Willis. I think it was a beverage. Maybe someone in the chat could look it up. What was the commercials that Bruce Willis did back in the 80s before he became famous? I just went, yeah, smooth, it's crisp. Someone will bring it up. But thank God Bruce Willis is still alive. I mean, you know, you never want to see somebody deteriorate like that. And that sucks, man. It really sucks. Oh, there you go. I knew it was a beverage. Seagram's wine coolers. Thank you, Tony Randall. Seagram's wine coolers. I remember it's crisp. Yep, Seagram's wine coolers. I'm so old. I drank Zimas back in the day. They were horrible. I don't remember what it tasted like, but all I do remember is that people like me used to drink it, thought we looked cool. Look, I'm drinking a Zima. I remember it being clear and not good. That was our cloud chasing. We didn't have the internet at the time. We didn't have social media. We didn't have iPhones and kick streams. So instead I walked around, look, everybody, I'm having a Zima. Raul, my thoughts on the speed title being exclusive to NXT. I don't like it because now you're telling me that Sol Ruka is only going to wrestle a 5-minute match or less on No Mercy. And we don't know what's going to happen on the men's side yet. They obviously have to bring the men's championship back. You're not going to bring back one and not the other. I think they've only mentioned Sol Ruka because, you know, just to reintroduce it. I just wonder if the relationship with X has changed, you know, and if the relationship with X has changed, are you going to create a new speed title? Are you going to retire it pretty quickly? Are you going to do a unification match? And if you do a unification match with another title, is the match have to be 5 minutes or less? Look, it's a title. It's not a great title. I don't like it because you're forcing people to have a short match. And you start out, how do you really like, I mean, 5 minutes is longer than people think. But if you have two people really having a great match and then you have to cut it short abruptly. But the funny thing about it is, I always brought this up. What happens if it ends in a draw? Do you keep going? All right, another minute or 5 more minutes. Like, if you could continue the match, like if it ends in a draw, 5 more minutes. Now you can restart the match and you got 5 more minutes. And hey, look, there's 10 minutes. So, okay. AS7607 says that Bruce Willis's wife was addressing critics in regards to the decision to have him live separately in another home nearby with round-the-clock nurses. She does check on her husband. You know, I'm not saying this to be a dick, but if he's losing his memory, you know, you could put him in a room with apes. He doesn't know where he's at. My point is that you put him in a room with nurses who could care for him, who could tend to him, who can make sure that if complication comes up, they know how to address it immediately. You look at the Hulk Hogan situation. Everybody says, malpractice. I'll throw one out to you. Hey, Sky, if you're going to sue, you know, we don't know what the doctors did yet, but if you're thinking about suing the doctors, maybe you should ask yourself, why did I make my husband go home on a gurney? Maybe he shouldn't have gone home so soon. Maybe he should have stood in the hospital. They cut his phrenic nerve. He couldn't even talk, brother. Why did I let him come home in a gurney in the middle of the night? You know, it's tragic what happened to Hulk Hogan, but it almost feels like people are trying to put the blame on someone else because Hulk Hogan is so lambasted right now. Like, we got to make him feel like a victim. Somebody killed him. Somebody inadvertently fucked him up. You know, maybe if he didn't have the massive heart issues because of all the steroids, they wouldn't have needed to cut him wide open and then inadvertently cut his phrenic nerve. And if they only cut one side, then it's not tragic. You could still maintain breathing. You have problems with your diaphragm. Yes, I know, because my mother went under the knife and my mother had almost the exact same thing 6 years ago. So everybody could turn around and say this and that. You know, it's tragic. I didn't want Hulk Hogan to die. You know, it's fucked up. But people trying to make I don't know what the autopsy comes out. If the autopsy comes out and a doctor really fucked up, then I'll be saying something different. But right now, it seems like, you know, people just want to put the blame on somebody else to try to alleviate a little bit of the harshness about Hulk Hogan and his death. All right. Let's start bringing this home, guys. I hope everyone enjoys their Labor Day Monday for those who celebrate it. Once again, just a reminder, I will not be live Monday night. I don't know exactly what time I'm going to record the show yet, but I will be going out for the day, seeing my parents. My mother's birthday was this past Thursday. She turned 77, and I didn't see her yet because we were supposed to go out to dinner, but she didn't feel up to it. So tomorrow, me, my wife, and the dogs are going to go see her, bring lunch to her. So don't know what time I'll get home yet, but once I get home, then I'll watch Raw and, you know, we'll get the show together. But I'm going to record it, put it online by tomorrow night, normal schedule. Maggie says his wife's seeing the doctors. I don't think it's anything like that. Some people think like Sky didn't care about. No, I've heard complete opposite. I've heard that Sky was very, very good to Hulk. I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I mean, I heard she was very, very good to him. There's obviously the big problem here that Brooke Hogan has brought out. And I think we all agree, Hulk Hogan was overworked. If you really want to watch something, I'll give you a little thing to look up. 4 years ago this week, Hulk Hogan did a charity event. Just do a Google search, go back this week, 2021, just type in Hulk Hogan. He went to a charity event. And if you look at the footage, he could barely walk. He was in bad shape at that time. In the last year, once Real American Beer came out, I mean, this guy, 3 months before Real American Beer was talking about how you don't drink anymore and he doesn't do this anymore. And then literally 3 months later, Real American Beer, brother. You know, and the guy was going state to state to state, getting paid. But then in Real American Wrestling and this and blah, 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 and Trump, he went on the campaign trail. This guy was overworked. His store, Trump, Real American Beer, Real American Wrestling, Real American this, Real American that. That guy was overworked. His body just gave out. That's my honest take on it. And there was a lot of people, and this is why Brooke did not go to the funeral. This is why Brooke did not go to Raw or SmackDown. This is why Brooke does not talk to a lot of people close to Hulk. Because a lot of people in Hulk's inner circle were praising him, coaching him. You're doing good, brother. You know, like just more about the brand than the person. My dogs are good. I posted a picture on X a little earlier. We had them groomed last week, and I posted a picture. They're doing well. They're doing well. They're waiting for me to finish this show. They're waiting for me to finish. Interesting week. Interesting week. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. You know, as I'm looking at my final notes, again, I'm not trying to sound, tragic or crazy, but I'm telling you, I talked to a few people earlier, and it does blow my mind how much Nikki Cross is starting to look like Daphne from about 10 years ago. Before Daphne started putting on some weight. You look 10 years ago to now, it's creepy. It's creepy because you know what's happening? People haven't. Nikki Cross has lost some weight, and her hair is let down, and it's always let down, but now it's, because her face is getting thinner, and I'm saying this in a nothing but a positive way, but Nikki Cross has got very cute dimples, and as she's losing a little bit of weight on her face, I don't know if she's doing Ozempic, because a lot of people get that Ozempic face. Her dimples stand out a little bit more, and that is something that Daphne always had. You see the dimples, you see what I'm talking about. Look at the pictures side by side, it'll creep you out. It'll creep you out. And she obviously has a lot of love for Daphne also. But I don't think she's trying to be Daphne, if anybody that's going to ask. No, I don't think that. So, all right. Before we wrap it up, we got a couple of final super shout outs to give. Want to give a shout out to Kevin Milwaukee. He wished someone would bring back the finisher of Slaughter's noogies. Despite the stigma, knuckles with pressure to the temple will make someone tap. It's funny because that move is something that if any of you backyard wrestled with your friends when you were young, that's probably something you would do. You put your friend in a headlock and you go like this, and he'd be like this. Believe it or not, this is true. I swear on my family this is true. Back in 85, when I used to hang out in Woodhaven, Queens, when we used to put cardboard boxes on the sidewalk and try to break dance, just think, fat white teenagers trying to break dance to Run DMC and Houdini and others. Crush Groovin', Body Movin'. We tried to impersonate Hulk Hogan to Richard Belzer. I swear on my fucking family, I'm not lying when I say this. I'll never forget one time I was in front of my friend Rob's house, and this was shortly after Hogan with Richard Belzer. Believe it or not, Hogan doing the sleeper on Richard Belzer where he cracked his head open, that happened on my birthday. That actually happened on March 27th. That's how I always remember it. A couple of months later, we were wrestling in front of my friend's house, and we were trying to put each other to sleep. And my friend literally put me in a front face headlock and squeezed on my temples as hard as he could. And I literally lost conscious for a few seconds. I woke up and I was like, wow, that was fucking cool. Like if you literally put pressure on the temples, you will put somebody to sleep. You squeeze hard enough. But I remember me and my friends, the two things, I'm going to be gross for a minute. The two things that my friends used to do, and how many of you will admit to this? Like when you were a teenager and you used to wrestle with your friends, you put somebody in a headlock and you would do one of two things. You would either put somebody in a headlock and go like this, like a noogie, or you go like this, give them a wet willy. If you really wanted to piss someone off, you put somebody in a headlock and you go, and you literally start rubbing their ears. Give somebody a wet willy while you give them a headlock, you'll piss somebody off, man. Somebody will fucking knock you out because of it. How many of you ever got a wet willy when you were younger? That was kind of gross. Get that finger out of your mouth. You don't know where that finger's been. But that's what we used to do. Put somebody in a headlock. Or I do remember this. You put somebody in a headlock, and back in the 80s, me and my friends, I used to have a mullet. Back in the 80s, we had longer hair. You put somebody in a headlock, and when you got them in a headlock, you go like this. You just mess their hair up. So that would be fun. That would be fun. My friend Larry, though, and listen, I'm not trying to be a dick when I say this. My friend Larry, we couldn't do that to because he had a fro. So you literally go like this, and his hair still was picture perfect. I mean, I remember he used to have this comb. That's why I always remember the scene in Spaceballs. Remember when they comb in the desert? Back in the 80s, a couple of my friends that were black, they used to have the comb in the hair. And I used to always want to do that. I would put the comb in the hair and it would fall right on the floor. Because my hair's thin. They literally would stick the comb in the hair and it would just stay. I was like, wow, that's cool. Maggie says she got Chinese burns on my wrist. You don't have burns like this. You see my burns? I literally burned my arms on a car engine, changing my headlights. It's still burned. It's still, where is it? Yeah, there. Oh, one is gone. All right, let's bring this home. Any last minute questions? Kevin always laughs at the noogies, but that shit really hurts. It does hurt, man. If I do it now, I'll get dizzy. It shit hurts, man. Temples is a no-no. Temples is a no-no. AS7607 says if she remembers correctly, Big John Studd had Andre in a front face lock on the mat for 11 minutes. Yes. Andre fell asleep during that time. I don't know if you could just fall asleep. Like, I didn't hear that you ever hear Andre having narcolepsy? I don't remember anybody ever accusing Andre. I don't even know if that was even a thing at that time. Could you imagine a doctor saying to Andre in the 80s, Andre Ruzumov, I have some bad news. You are battling, you have an issue called narcolepsy. What the fuck is narcolepsy? Like, I don't even think narcolepsy was a thing in the 80s. I don't believe he fell asleep. I think that was justification for 11 minutes of boredom. The funny thing is, too bad Big John Studd died so young. I would have liked to have him done a shoot interview and then say, listen, he didn't fall asleep. He just wouldn't get up. What am I supposed to do? I have him in a headlock. What am I supposed to do? I'm telling him, get up. Get up, kick me in the face. And Andre, no, I'm staying here on the mat. Like, what do you do? If you're Big John Studd or any wrestler and you're wrestling 450-pound Andre and he's laid out in the ring and a minute goes by. All right, Andre, let's do this. And then 4 minutes go by. Andre, get up. And then 6 minutes go by. Andre, what the fuck is going on? Get up. Like, and 10, 11 minutes go by. Like, what are you going to do? Like, what can you do? Be like Lex Luger and just walk out of the ring and run away? He could have actually fell asleep if he was drunk. Might have had a couple of beers before the show. Maybe that's what happened. But I never thought he fell asleep. I just thought that I thought he probably was just relaxed. I mean, honestly, you're laying down, this feels good. You know, probably laying on the mat, this feels good. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. You know, the video is online, though. That video is fucking funny. I remember watching that for the first time, and I'm just imagining to myself, what the fuck was going on? What was going on? The referee was funny, too. Very happy that Syko Stu is home. Do I want to see Raja Jackson get arrested? Yeah. Yeah, because I don't want anybody else doing this again. Clout chasing and kick streams is an addiction, and it's deadly. I was thinking about this earlier. What about all the people what about those assholes that went to, what was it, Japan? Remember those Americans that went to Japan? And some of you will remember. And they were literally like, they would pull a woman's skirt down and then start running. Or one time they actually had an elderly woman walking a dog and they grabbed the dog and they ran away. They were like smacking Japanese people in the head like this and then running away. And they were all doing it for a live stream. Some of you remember, who's the guy? There was one guy that did it and got caught. I think it was last year. You know, all this stuff is being done for streams. You know, let me fuck with this person on a live stream. Let me randomly hit that person. For my Twitch streamers, kick streamers. Rickshaw? No, that's somebody in the chat. Maybe it was Korea. Maybe it was Korea. No, there was somebody last year that went to another country and started saying like racist things and doing stupid things on the trains. Johnny Somoli? Okay, then maybe that's him. This is an addiction. This is an addiction. Not everybody could be an iShow Speed. That's the problem. Everybody wants to be the next iShow Speed. Everybody wants to be, you know, that famous streamer with hundreds of thousands of followers. Problem is when you got people with a couple of eggs short of a dozen up here, and then they think, you think I'm a pussy? Watch what I do to that motherfucker. Meanwhile, you don't even know who the person is on your stream. And now you're going to get arrested. You're going to hire a lawyer. You're going to have to probably pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. Might have a criminal record coming out of it. Your reputation will always be fucked for the rest of your life. All because you got insulted because some Joe Schmuck in the chat room called you a pussy. You ain't going to really hit Stu. You're a pussy. Oh, yeah? Watch this. Oh, and guys, 50 subscribers and I'll fucking knock his ass out. If I get 10 likes, I'll fucking crack him over the head. You know, this is the mentality of Raja Jackson. And that's the thing that every fucking wrestling expert out there got wrong, with the exception of Bin Hameen. I'm sure there was others. I didn't watch everybody's review, but Bin Hameen, if he hears this, props to you. You're one of the almost nobody that turned around and said this obsession with being a streamer and having that clout is what led to all of this. Rickshaw says that Johnny Somali is in jail in Korea right now, awaiting trial. Good. Good. It broke my heart to see somebody. Imagine being 80 years old and you're walking your dog that you absolutely love, and some guy on a live stream runs up, grabs your dog and runs away and is laughing, and you're devastated. All because they want to entertain their streamers. That is sick. That is sick. You know, there was a guy in Long Island a couple of months ago. There was a guy in Long Island that was doing pranks in a mall, live streaming. Somebody whipped out a gun and shot him or pulled the gun on him. I know one guy got shot. Someone else, they pulled the gun on him. You know, this is sick. Roger Jackson is right in there. And listen, Rampage Jackson, again, I feel bad for him, but having your entire life on a kick stream, that's not setting a good example for your son. Especially after this happened. Every fucking thought in the world. Oh, my son had a concussion. Well, he was able to eat, shit, shower, shave, go shopping, go grocery shopping, hang out with his friends, go on a Twitch stream, email all of his people, eat dinner, have breakfast, go walk the dog, go walk here, go do this. He did everything else normal. But when he hit the ring, no, that was it. He went fucking Perry Saturn on Mike Bell. You know, no, he's had a concussion. Oh, well, he lost his mother lately. I don't care if he lost his fucking dick. There's no excuse. Stop bringing up, oh, well, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. You know, no, that just pisses people off even more. Thank God they're in California. Stay clear away from fucking New York. Am I wrong, though? I hate when people fucking bring up concussions and, well, he had this. Well, he just lost his mother. Well, he just this. You know what? In my entire lifetime, I know a shitload of people that lost their mother, and I don't know any of them that went up to somebody random and just started punching them 25 times in the face. Seriously, man. Could do everything else for the whole week. Well, you had a concussion last week. Oh, he shaved. Everything about him perfect. You know, he did everything normal except for when he hit the ring. Yeah, something snapped. You know what snapped? Kickstream. He don't see it because he's just as addicted. The only difference is he hasn't done anything criminal to impress anybody. Maggie is right. Even if you concuss, you know the difference between right and wrong. And if he didn't know the difference between right and wrong, then why would you even offer to do this for this? You know, like, oh, you don't think I'll beat his ass? Well, if he didn't think there was anything wrong with that, why would you even question anybody? You would just do it. It's just, again, all that whole entire company was fucked up. That was a WWE ID program. The problem was that the ID was cut off. It was short for idiot. That's what it was. Their program, no, you didn't have the WWE ID developmental, but you were ID as an idiot. We were just doing Rikishi a little favor, brother. So he would lay off our backs about Jay. Brother, I think you should go to AEW, brother. All right. I'm going to bring this home. So I hope everyone enjoys your Monday. Keep supporting the website, wrestling-news.com. The Patreon, patreon.com/Don Tony. If you sign up there, got the whole DTKC vault waiting for you. Nice. I'll be live next Sunday right here. And remember, once 2026 comes around, all those 10, 15 hours of work that I do every week for the history show, we won't have to do that next year. So we will be live streaming quite a bit more. Not because I want clout, it's because I want money. There's a big difference here. I could have one person tuning in, and that's fine. It's kind of like what I said earlier. If I'm WWE, I want to hold the record for the highest gate, not for the most people. You know, you could have the most people. Hey, I had 15,000 people. Yeah, but I got $3,000, so fuck you. I'm just joking. I'm going to jet. Much love, everybody. I'll have the show up tomorrow, I would say by 10 p.m. Eastern, maybe even a little bit earlier. What I'll probably do is I'll probably get up super early tomorrow because I have to do some work related. Maybe I'll record part of the show early. Maybe I won't. I don't think it's going to be that big of a show tomorrow because we covered so much. But we have a few things to discuss, obviously. And then we'll see what happens on Raw. Raw is going to be a good show. I mean, obviously they're going to go the extra mile for France. They're charging quite a bit of money, which makes me think we may see a title change in France. You know, they're going to go a little bit extra for Raw on Monday. What that extra is, I don't know. But we'll probably get some vision, no pun intended, as far as what happens with Becky Lynch going forward. Remember, Wrestlepalooza is not that far away. So if AJ Lee is returning, we'll probably know within a week. I mean, I don't think they're going to wait until the week before Wrestlepalooza and then announce that AJ Lee is going to team up with CM Punk. So if this is going to happen, we'll probably know in about the most a week from now. We'll see. We'll see. Everyone, much love. I'm out of here. I'll catch you all in the next one. Be well.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.